Hello. Hello. All right. Yeah, not too bad. Just been AFK for a bit. Just grabbed a few beers.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Apollo 15
So I don't have to move.
anniversary expedition. You're actually live on the stream at the moment, Discord people, so I should have warned you in advance. But yes, we are live across the cosmos, or an area of Twitch at the very least, so that's something. I better shut the music off, that might be a wise move. But hello and to everyone in Twitchland, everyone in Voice Discord at the moment. A good evening to you all. But as I say, to anyone on Discord, watch what you say, because it's a PG-13 stream I'm on at the moment. So,
Of course.
Yeah. Having said that, I think that includes, you can say the odd swear word. I think that's okay, but it's just like not like massive amount of them, like a constant stream of profanity or something. But yeah, I think we're not particularly like badly behaved. Having said that, even though one of the names of the game today is to be badly behaved, but not verbally, but actually like in SRVs and fighters and things. So yeah, nothing that like violates, you know, FleetCom's rules and what have you. Because that's the thing, you're not allowed to do ship-to-ship combat, absolutely verboten, understandable, but you can have, You know,
Mm.
ship launch fighter to ship launch fighter combat, that's perfectly allowed. SRV to SRV.
Oh, right.
Again, that's also allowed as well. It's just you're not allowed to destroy a ship because a ship is considered to be more of a permanent kind of structure, isn't it?
Right,
I think that's
yeah.
the logic. They obviously don't. They want to. A whole point of a lot of private groups like our FleetCom and stuff is to make sure that there's no ganking involved, and so that's why the PvP component's removed and it's a PvE thing. But I think SRVs and fighters are considered to be like sub ships, so they're not really. There's not really a problem with that, you know. As far as I'm aware, and this, to be fair, this is one of the previous administrators of FleetCom who told me this. I think it's still true, but I hope they haven't changed the rules without telling me. Still, hello to everybody wherever you are. And today is the final Waypoint meetup and the final meetup of the expedition full stop. And we are gathered in this lovely little sort of crater right at the edge of, I don't know, as far as the edge of daylight, I suppose. It's like twilight here, really, in the crater. But the idea is that we're going to do a bunch of events today. The first one should be, I call it a high-speed ship race because that means obviously some ships are like as fast as fighters basically, but they're not fighters. I'm flying in a fighter right now, but a ship fighter, not a ship-launched fighter. But that's why I just say high-speed ship race. Yeah, the mandatory SRV cliff jumping, the SRV round and round stroke, you know, SRV NASCAR, and the amusingly named Drunk Donkey Demolition Derby, which only came to me today, but I just thought, rather than just call it Demolition Derby, why call it something that's really interesting? It's like, why did he call it that, you know? But, you know, it's like if you give a donkey, you know, alcohol, it's going to behave like a maniac, isn't it? So it seemed appropriate. Yeah. But here we are. And there's a fair few people in the crater at the moment. As you may have seen on the adverts of the stream, there's a sort of crater formation where we're going to hopefully do the SRV NASCAR around. There's a sort of canyon to one side which looks like good for fighter racing, and the canyon to the other side that is good for cliff jumping. So the fast ship race should be the first thing that we do, just because it's easier to get the SRV ships later. Because, like, for example, my little sort of Imperial Eagle doesn't have an SRV bay at the moment, so I'm going to have to actually like leave the instance at the end of the sort of the ship racing and then grab SRVs. Other people as well. As long as some people maintain the instance here, I don't think that's a problem. As long as at least one commander stays behind to do that, that shouldn't be an issue. But we'll work it out as we go. I mean, it's not the first time we've ever done anything like that, but. And also considering how nearby the most people seem to be storing their ships on the nearby fleet carriers anyway, it's just kind of common sense to do that. So, okay, how many people here have actually brought a fast ship to be racing with? Because I don't think actually everybody has arrived in the chat at the moment. I think BE8's probably due in at some point. Oh, there he is at the top. Sorry, I didn't see him there. But yeah, hello BE8. I know you were talking about racing your Mamba, so that's a good thing. You know what it is? His little icon isn't lit up or anything. It's just like the grey background. Yeah, it's a shame, really. Or is that supposed to be his icon? It actually is. Oh, that's unusual. Unless it's either that my Discord's playing up. It could be either, to be fair. Yeah, just for those of you in the same instance as me, it's probably best if you actually shut off the lights of your ships and SRVs and turn on night vision instead. It's just easier on the instance that way. And it causes less sort of lagging and delays and what have you we want to be doing. So, there you are. Right, is anyone actually trying to get into the instance still? I don't know. I haven't actually read anything for a while on anyone wanting to do that, so I'm going to assume that they're probably not. I'll ask elsewhere. Oh, someone just popped up and then went away. Hope we didn't scare them away. SRV trying to shoot things again. Yeah, possibly. I think sometimes that actually gives like false readings, doesn't it, of people being under attack. Yeah, and they think they're under attack, but they're not. It's just an SRV shooting. Oh, SRV's climbing on my fighter. I might have to dislodge him in a minute, assuming it's a him. Cool. I think I'll have to get airborne anyway, to be fair. Otherwise, we're not going to get anything done.
So are we going for ship race
We
first?
are going for the ship race first, yes indeed.
Okay.
Woo, someone was already on top of me and they're now going to fall off. Goodbye, SRV. This has got quite vicious acceleration, so I probably should have warned. Actually, to be fair, I didn't know that SRV was on. I saw one before that was on me. I think there might have been another one hanging around. I just saw something fall off at the side.
Imagine if he'd exploded.
Yeah.
Yannick, the SRV killer.
I'm 1k high, so yeah, it's enough of a fall to kill him. Oh well, hey ho.
Well, I've accidentally destroyed an SRV before just by ascending too quickly whilst it was on the top
It's
of me.
pretty easy to do that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
See if I can wing in Solar Wind. I think he's around somewhere. Solar Wind. Yep, invite to wing.
I have Solar Wind.
Oh, cool. That's fine then. You're a bit quiet, JBL, at the moment.
Let me see if I've got the right microphone working.
Yeah, I can only barely hear you.
Just about hear you. Yeah, it's quite quiet.
Gotta handle this ship with such care, because, you know, the tiniest movement sends it sort of flipping around. It is. Someone in the previous meeting actually questioned me how it could be overpowered. It's like the thrusters are overpowered. As in, like, you can go in a straight line, that's okay, but if you try and turn, it can become uncontrollable very quickly. Control is just as important on anything powerful as having raw power itself, you know. I mean, you go talk to anyone who races dragsters, you know, and those things, if you try and turn those, you're not going to have a very good day, are you? Okay, let's have a look at the lovely canyon that we find ourselves within. Oh, see what I mean? Agility. I'm flying as if it's like the Orca I'm usually flying in, and it's going all over the place. Okay, I should pop myself up a little bit so I can be seen to everybody. Okay. I shouldn't be that far away, but I seem to be out of the instance of a lot of people. They're right at the edge of range, I think. I'm sort of hovering near the rim of the crater to, yeah, to the side. Okay, anyone who wants to, ship race, please join me over here towards this sort of side of the crater as per the map. Cool. Yeah, it's always best under these sort of twilight or night conditions to not use your lights and switch night vision on, because it's just so much better for instances and your own processing power as well. It just saves everything, and you can usually see more anyway, so it's a win-win really. The lights are cool sometimes, but not in a big instance, it just slows it down. Yeah, that's right, B8, the landing zone is inside the crater where we were. But we're going to fly some ships away from that. Okay, so for the ship race, I'm going to say that the start line is about where we are at the moment.
Okay.
And just trying to see if there's any visual marker on the ground. The problem, there isn't really one, but we just like vaguely sort of hit. Has anyone got a bigger ship with a mining laser on at the moment? In this instance,
Big ship, but I can be a marker because I won't be racing.
that's cool.
It's just not.
That'll do. Yeah, you don't have to have a laser necessarily, but that'll do. You know, the big ship with that's not racing. That's cool. Okay, if you could come up and sort of be a marker beneath us here, and let's fly over to the side so we can get a good look at this. See the twilight now out of the crater. It doesn't look so bad. There's actually some natural light still. Crater's not super deep, but it's deep enough, you know. Trying to see if they get the angle correct for this one. It's not quite Pumesh, but it's like, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's a really cool sort of series of canyons and craters and mountains. I wonder who's the fastest ship today. It's probably not mine. It's probably one of the couriers, isn't it? It usually is these days. 9 out of 10 times it's a courier that you find boosting away quickest.
So where do you want me as the
Okay.
goalpost or whatever?
That's a good way of putting it, actually, the goalposts. Can you see me at the moment?
Like a hop.
Yep, I'm above you.
Okay, cool. If you can like go down in altitude a little bit to sort of more or less where I am, and just a little bit to the
Sure.
side, maybe that would be a good place to be seen by everybody. Now, what I'm trying to work out is at the point we actually race to. I just want to wing in with somebody in the group, so I've got a distance. So I'll ring in with Sigma actually, and oh, she just dropped off the
Okay.
thing. Okay. Oh, I'll send you a wing anyway, just so I can get some distance. This is always the thing with these, is like, judging distances is not necessarily straightforward in game. Sometimes you're right, but sometimes you're really not, you know. But that makes sense in a vacuum. Oh, thank you, Veroslav. That's cool. Right. Stay where you are, everyone. I'm just going to have a quick boost away just to see what the distance is. Just to make sure we're
Ain't
not going
that
to...
fast.
Its boost is pretty good. It does about 820, so yeah, it moves.
Nice.
The thing is that most couriers are faster than this, though. I mean, I know several people have got like 830, 840, 50 couriers. See, I'm flying towards probably the edge of visual range there. As it sort of comes to an end, that canyon, more or less, where it kind of merges with another one, that's probably a good place to race to. Can you still see me from where you are?
I can still, I have it
Um,
targeted, but can't see you
No, okay, that's
as
interesting.
in visually.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's 20k.
Okay, yeah, it's 20k. That's a good distance.
Can you
but
stick your beacon on?
I will.
You
I'm pretty sure it is already on actually, but I'll double check. Yeah, it's already on.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Don't worry,
You're not in the
Vactor's
wing.
already got me in a wing anyway, so that's not a
Ah,
problem.
fair
Yeah. I can see him as a in the distance, but I think my ship's so small it probably can't be seen very easily. Actually, I don't think it's him
Yeah,
I'm seeing. I
can't
think I'm
really
seeing
see
the.
you at all.
I think I'm seeing one of the bigger ships, whether it's a Condor or a Cutter, I'm not sure. But the one that's hovering sort of above, I can see that. That's good though, that we can see that as a marker. That's the main thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm just checking out the... Actually, I don't think I could see it. I think that was like a side effect of the lock-on. But yeah.
You passed me.
Yeah, no, I'm just... This is the thing with this. It doesn't slow down very easily. It's very good at accelerating, but it's not very good at slowing down. I've got a laugh, really. I've got a laugh. Oh, yeah, hey, not so obvious. Glad you could join us today. Okay, so we're kind of racing towards where the canyon sort of ends and sort of merges into another. You kind of see it when you come to it, but... As I say, this is not like a sort of scientific race by any stretch of the imagination. We do our best to improvise, you know, this is all we can do, really. I mean, I suppose if we were really serious about it, we'd have, like, laser at each end, wouldn't we, and what have you, but that's not really possible today, but it's not a worry. Okay, I'm trying to set myself up for... Right, Sorry, who volunteered to be the start-finish line? Was it you, Vatroslav?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's how...
And I am exactly where you told me to come next
awesome.
to you,
That's excellent.
but I can move.
No,
anywhere
no,
you
you're
want.
fine. Absolutely, you're in the best place possible. See, Vatroslav's asp there is going to be our start-finish point, so I'm like moving myself alongside him. I think. So yeah, if anyone who wants to do the ship race, line up alongside me and Vatroslav's asp, and yeah, he'll stay where he is and be our sort of start-finish point. But it should work, he says. Fingers crossed. Yeah, the sun's quite low in the sky, but it does add a nice sort of effect. Yeah, you can sort of see the shadows. I switched my night vision off again, but I'll switch it back on when I've started racing. But yeah, see, I saw the Mamba as well. What other ships do people have today? I'm going to switch to external cam to have a quick look as well. 'Cause
I've
this is
got a
always good.
Cobra.
Yeah, always a good choice. The
Is
classic
that a
Cobra.
hauler?
Ha ha ha! Someone's racing in a hauler, well then good for them. So yeah, we've got a courier. Again, the choice of a lot of racers these days. What else do we have here? Let's zoom in a bit further. We also have one of the smaller fighters. Yep. Taipan. There's a couple of ships over there that I can't identify because they're too far away, but are they racing or are they just fucking around? I shouldn't be saying this. I'm violating my own PG-13 rules here. I shouldn't be saying that. It's that time of day. I really shouldn't. But yeah, I'll find myself for that. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the Mamba's right alongside. Actually, that's pretty much the ideal straight line ship, really, isn't it? It's not the most manoeuvrable, but it certainly looks cool, especially the paint job you've got there. That's actually really nice. Okay, so I think we've got the bunch of ships that are going to race now. I see the couriers hanging around, urgently waiting to get fully off. But yeah, those fighters over there, if you want to be in the race, come line up now because we're going to start in a few moments. Maybe they don't. I don't know.
Watch out for speed blocks if you're in fast ship.
Okay, I'll give them a few more seconds, and after that we'll get going. And this first race is gonna be like a test run anyway, because say the terrain is a bit sort of you know what I mean. You'll see it when you come to it. It kind of narrows a bit, and then it merges in with another canyon that's like off to our right. So yeah. But when you see me turn around, that's kind of approximately the right point. Assuming I don't smash into the other end, that is. Okay. Aren't we a bit high or just a bit drunk? Yeah, saying in the chat, like, well, I'm neither, but, if you want to do that, it's up to you, I have met several commanders and little meats who have been somewhat drunk. This is not unknown. Okay. If everyone's ready to go.
Yep.
Right, ready to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Joe took from the couriers. I'm actually surprised. Right, this is about the sort of turnaround point that I'm coming to, and I'm going vertical now. So it's about 21 kilometers I actually reached the turnaround point, so yeah. Did people see when I was talking about the sort of way it kind of like narrows down at the end?
It seems like you're the first one back,
I am
Yannick.
genuinely surprised because I deliberately didn't boost away
Oh,
until.
and here's Getadoy.
Because I didn't boost when
Just
everyone else
barely.
did. So I'm surprised if I won.
Yannick
Big
won
one.
at his own race.
Wow, accidentally
There
won
was
my own
someone
race.
else of
I
mine.
literally deliberately boosted away 2 seconds late so that to give the victory to somebody else, and I accidentally won. Oh my! I don't mind, but
Oh well.
yeah, I'm sure someone else will win the next one.
Getadoy has a nice idea. Return through the neighboring canyon.
Ooh, that's probably a better idea in many ways, actually. Shall we try that?
I could, since I'm above the canyon, I could simply move
Yeah.
left or right.
Yeah, you try
Wherever
that.
the canyon is. I believe it's on the right.
Is on the right. You'd have to move over to the right. Actually, it might be best if
Yeah.
you kind of moved like between the 2 canyons now, so you're like over the dividing bit between it. so
Sure.
we can see you from like both sides. Yeah.
Yep, makes sense.
Cool. It's much deeper. You know, that is true actually, BA. Yeah, it is deeper. Maybe we should have chosen that one to race. But you're right, if we go to the end of this canyon and then come back through the other canyon on the right, that's a very good idea. Okay.
This should be good enough.
Okay. Right, so if we start here, I'm getting sort of parallel to Vatrastav at the moment. Climb a little bit. And then we come back via the one on the right. Okay. Good, good. Move over slightly to this side. Okay, that's good. Let's go to external count, have a look where everybody is at the moment. I should really stop, shouldn't I? Might be a nice idea. Okay. Right. Okay, so yeah, we go through this canyon and come back to the one on the right. Is everyone in position at the moment over here?
Here we go.
Okay, external cam view again. I should go back a bit, shouldn't I, if I'm in line? Okay, cool. Without crashing into anyone. Okay. Is everyone ready to race who wants to?
Yeah, man.
Cool, cool.
Am indeed.
Excellent, excellent. Right, if everyone's ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! You know, I wonder with the courier, is that the courier is actually faster, but I think I might have slightly better acceleration. But it'll outdrag me in the long run anyway.
I like how the only chance I have of keeping up is flight assist off.
That is probably true, but it's a challenge, isn't it? You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think the courier turned around quicker than I did as well. I think it's a courier ahead anyway. I can't quite see it though, it's just a little sort of fiery dot ahead. But it's ahead of me. Yeah, this canyon is actually a bit cooler, isn't it, than the other one? Oh, I do like
It's
this.
a lot narrower as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what makes it cool, you know, it's like,
The winner,
well, congratulations, Commander.
followed by Berli and Yannick.
Yay. Well done,
You
everyone.
win a virtual pat on the back.
You do. And a virtual cocktail as well at the bar later on. I think that's one of the things about, you know, the Odyssey bar when you go into a station. It's like you can just ask for missions or information and stuff. It's like, but no drink. You can't like order even like a nominal like limited menu or something. It's like you can't even simulate that, really. It's like, see, why
I know,
not?
that's-
Why not? Disappointing, disappointing. Yeah.
It would be funny if you could buy beer at the bar and then, you know, like on GTA, that
Yeah, yeah.
you get that drunk vision just stumbling around.
That would be amazing. That genuinely
If
would
you
be a
get
good
into a
idea.
ship, you know.
And
Yeah.
then you get up in your Eagle and race around the asteroid field. What could go wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this
Well,
is great, wouldn't it?
In
Yeah.
this, well, you know, it wouldn't be too hard for them to put them in because if you turn too quick in your ship, you get that sort of G over, you know, high G effect
Sure, yeah.
where you start blacking out. I'm sure they can
Yeah.
stick some beer goggle filters over
Oh,
your,
yeah.
you know, your vision and
I mean, it'd be
make you
amazing.
stumble around a bit.
like GTA Arcturus or something like that. It'd be amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Still,
And then everybody would just be stumbling around in the station. It would be funny to watch.
it would be hilarious. You could tell. I mean, then people like what's his name, Turgeon Starstone will start making various series
Just-
about that. That'll be just like ideal, really, for people like him.
Oh,
I've watched
And,
Tony Trolls for a long time, actually.
oh, and what's his name? Machine.
Oh yeah, Commander Machine.
Machine? Yeah, I used to like his series.
Yeah, I watched him a few times. He was pretty cool. So yeah, does anyone want another race before we kick this one in the head and then do some SRV racing?
Can do.
Okay. Because that was quite fun, actually. I thought the turn around through the different canyon. Yeah. Okay.
Try it reverse now. Go through the canyon you just came from and
Yeah,
return through the
sure,
other one.
we'll do that. That sounds like a good idea to me. Everyone else is up for
What we should do is
fly to the right
we
hand
should
side.
get a ship with a laser to
Mhm.
mark the finish line. But we keep going back and forth, making like laps,
Mhm.
and every lap the ship drops lower and lower, and we have to get underneath the laser.
Limbo racing.
Nice.
That sounds like
That would
fun.
make things interesting.
Oh
Literally a meter above the ground.
yeah.
Yeah,
That would be
limbo.
interesting. Ship limbo, some variation on limbo. Yeah. Yeah. Let's fly over here to the right hand canyon and try, as was suggested, the reverse race. You start on the right hand canyon, then you end up in the left.
Have you guys ever raced in space without supercruise, like around carriers or
We've tried it,
stations
yeah,
or through
yeah.
asteroid fields?
I have indeed.
It's
Man,
kind of hard to do in an asteroid field, though. I mean, it kind of, because obviously like the asteroid's always moving, so it's not necessarily always a fair race, but it can be done. And around a carrier is a bit easier because it's fixed, isn't it? So, yeah. I mean, to be fair, you
it
can
adds that
actually.
level of. It does add that level of difficulty. But yeah,
Hmm.
could be done.
Yeah. Now the other thing I was thinking about those kind of races is that I don't know. Remember, I think it was like one of the anniversary, not the anniversary, the like reunion meets for like Apollo 11. I think it was where we actually tried a Super Cruise race. But you're thinking, what women? All ships are the same in Super Cruise. Yeah, that's good. So like a Type 10 could race, like an Imperial Eagle or something at the same speed. But the idea was that you would actually have to. There'll be planets in the way, like it would slow you down, so you had to go around them.
Alright.
There was some skill involved, and then you'd have to come out of Super Cruise, go round a carrier or a station, and then back out again into Super Cruise and go back to your original point. So in both directions, you'd have to round a planet or some other body in the middle. And so there was some skill to it. Unsurprisingly, these races were quite close because it was often decided by the person who could round the carrier or the station the quickest. So that can work. That can be quite fun as well.
Or you can make a triathlon, super cruise, normal space, and then SRV.
Yeah, that could work too. A few people have tried things like that. Okay, if anyone wants to do the reverse race that we were just talking about in the right-hand canyon, coming back through the left-hand one, please assemble where you would like. Near the start line, hopefully. Yeah, the boost on
He's
some of
asking
these ships.
something, but
Mhm.
I said B8 is asking something in local chat that I don't know how to answer.
Okay, let's have a look. I haven't looked for a second. Oh, the third connects the second canyon. Asteroids aren't moons rotating. How do we see where we leave the canyon?
Third.
Just where they merge, really. Yeah, there is a turn, so yeah. It's sort of, you just see it as you come around when they merge. That's right. Getador, yeah, exactly. When they merge, you kind of see it there. You've got to be looking out for it, though. Otherwise, you'll miss it.
Only 2 clicks out.
Okay. Is everyone ready to race who wishes to do so?
Indeed.
That's good. That's good. Looks like the sun's about to set now, but yeah, not much we can do about that. Okay. Ready to race in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Someone's gone high already. The Mamba's in front of me. And someone's gone very low. I can see them on the scope beneath me, but yeah. I think someone's boosted ahead now. Oh, that was bright. It's one of the couriers again. Probably Getador, isn't it? I think I completely balls this one up, actually.
So we're going left.
Yeah, I sort of tried to do a loop and it came down at the wrong angle.
Oh, right.
But that's what I was saying about this
Oh.
particular engineering mod I did to the Eye Eagle. Yeah, it makes it go in a straight line, but it does make it a pain to control. And that's a very good example of it happening.
Is that the drag drive?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe the
And
regular
get
will
to
make
the
it easier.
coming. Get to the Yannick. I don't know which is first. Seems like Yannick from up here.
I don't think I was. Someone overtook me, and I say I didn't do the turn very easily, so I'm sure someone else was ahead.
Get to the NU, as far as I could see. Well, I couldn't see anyone close to
Okay.
you two.
I just
Yeah.
got completely
We-
lost.
well,
That would
You
make
just
sense.
both get the virtual pet on the back.
Yes, we did it with these virtual bars as well, definitely. I mean, the thing is also about, like, you know, the parts of Odyssey where the bar exists. You only thought that'd be the simplest bit of the game to do, is you're going to add a new section to it. Just have, like, some people drinking, is like, do you want a drink, you know, and it just hands you one or whatever. Like, generic drink even, you know. Okay.
I think me and a few others kind of got lost. I don't know.
No, it was quite easy to get lost, to be fair, on that one, because I was like second guessing for a second. I was like, is this the right one?
Mm.
And I thought, yeah, it is actually the right one. I'm now returning to the crater, but if somebody, I don't know, Vatroslav, if you're going to stay here at the crater or not, but just so we've got someone who can keep the instance sort of going, or someone can like anchor it when we get, because I've got to get a ship with SRVs in it to do the next bit. I'm sure a few other people are doing so as well. I think some people's couriers actually can have, you know, SRVs quite easily. It's not really that much of a drag on them.
Sorry, you wanted me to remain at the canyon?
No,
or
but
the
come
crater?
back to the crater if you can. That would be cool.
Yeah, sure, coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just wanted someone to remain behind, so when people like me go up to space to get SRVs, which is bound to be a few people, but I'll keep in the wing as well, just to let's go in.
Oh, right, you guys are in small ships without SRVs.
Exactly,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
That's the thing. That's what I was just saying about some people's couriers are sort of so well, you know, engineered that they can actually have like an SRV and not actually slow them down too much. But this ship, it slows it down a huge amount, so it's not really worth putting an SRV on it. But yeah, I will be back from the carrier very shortly.
Ooh,
It goes quick, doesn't it?
crash landing.
Right. Here we go, back into Super Cruise.
Just gonna find these coordinates again.
I can invite you into wing if you want.
Yeah, I'm still in the same wing as... Oh, so you're talking to somebody else, don't worry.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
alright. I think there was
Okay, where was that going?
someone's found it.
I should really have... I really have actually advertised I was doing the stream to other people. Then again, I wasn't doing a talk today, so it wouldn't be much of a point,
Yeah.
would it? Oh well, hey, It's an interesting name. Yeah, D-scan and be over.
Yeah, you do see some interesting fleet carrier names
Yeah.
on your travels.
No, that's true. I'm glad when people do it in a sort of very knowing or kind of humorous way. It's always fun to see. The carrier looks quite interesting. You put night vision on. So obviously anything that's quite well lit just sort of gives a sort of weird, sort of tint to it. But it's cool. Sometimes you see more detail in the night vision, but not always. Thruster's so powerful, they sort of bounces into the carrier sometimes. When I first saw this name, the carrier, the D-scan will soon be over, I thought he was talking about an actual scan. I thought, what's it got to do with this? Oh, it's the actual name of the fleet carrier. I see. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a more conventional ship.
Oh my.
Hey JBL, I can hear you kind of faintly in the background.
Yeah, my ground is now completely glitching. I'm 6 meters above the surface and 1.5 kilometers above Vatroslav.
Okay.
Ooh.
That is. Alright, I'm going to have to go to Super Cruise and back.
Are you in Anaconda?
No, I'm in a courier.
Oh, okay.
Right, okay, I'm going in my, I should go back to my Orca, I should say. Would have been the best move. Got distracted, apologies. I think there's also Saturday. I don't think that many people are actually watching at the moment. They're probably all out raving in this country because they can. Yeah. For those of you who aren't following internationally, the UK recently sort of pretty much ended all, coronavirus restrictions. A lot of people think that's necessarily the best idea from like a health perspective, which is almost certainly true, but it's what's happened. So people are going out and doing things a lot more than they used to. Weird thing is, most of the population doesn't actually agree with the this loosening of all restrictions, but it's where we are. I won't talk about it too much. Don't want to be negative or anything.
Well, things certainly have gotten a lot better than it was.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
no, in terms of like the virus and the population, yeah, that is true. It's complicated. That's the whole thing. It's the whole business. It's it is complicated. Farewell to you, robotic voice on the fleet carrier.
What's happening with everybody's fleet carriers after this weekend? Is everybody heading back to the bubble? Or
I think a few of them are. I was just looking recently about their different plans. Most of them seem to be heading back to the bubble. A couple don't seem to have
Right.
plans. Some of them are moving to other locations, but
okay,
yeah, it's
because
not surprising.
I'm debating to just sit back and ride a fleet carrier back to the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But if I get on the wrong one, I might end up at Beagle Point or somewhere like that.
Yeah, check carrier logistics because there's like a spreadsheet there to show the destinations of them, and there's usually like chat that tells you there about where they're going next. So I know what you mean. You don't want to end up on the other side of the galaxy by
okay.
mistake. So that's totally fair, totally understandable.
'Cause this account is mainly my bubble alt account.
Mm-hmm.
My main is somewhere out in the black.
I
Couldn't
did
really
wonder
make it
about
back
that,
in time.
yeah. Because you're usually like
So-
zero axis, aren't you? So on expeditions.
Yeah, yeah. But he's got an automotive at the moment, so it's out exploring.
Fair enough.
So my alt account was free to do this.
That's the thing. I mean, my main alt account is actually with me here on the expedition anyway, as a sort of like, you know, useful
right.
scout and sort of other thing. Because sometimes I can be on one planet scouting with one, on another planet scouting with the other, and just switch between the two.
Fair
It's
enough.
easier than constantly flying between two bodies. Like I literally did that recently. One was on 1D in this, planetary system, like AB1D, the one AB1E, and it just made sense to do it that way around. So saves time and effort, you know. And one of them just rode
Is
the
that,
carrier anyway.
Is that your alt? Was it gamma ray?
That's right. I'm glad you remembered.
Yeah. From the Mercury's Wings expedition.
Yep, that's the one. That's what I generally tend to use it for. It's the sort of like advanced scout and sort of second pair of eyes a lot of the time.
Mm.
Also,
Nice.
the past when I've actually been on like the North American leg of these things, sometimes like the Gamma Ray account has been like, you know, holding back and to do that one. So yeah, that does happen. Okay, right. Let's fingers crossed end up in the right instance. Yeah, it looks like I'm in the right place.
Let's check.
I can see lights ahead, so I'm going to say I am in the right place. Yep, I see you. Yeah, cool. Right. To make sure. Trying to get my bearings again in, because everything looks very different through night vision. I can see the crater. Actually, I've noticed, I think you guys are actually in a secondary crater to the other side of where we're supposed to be.
Oh, really?
I think I'm flying towards like what is the actual sort of crater of choice, as it were, for SRV racing and things, because it's a bit bigger.
Oh, right. Shall we?
Yeah,
Come
just
and
you
join
see
you
where
then
I am
instead.
as well. Just I'm like hovering above the crater at the
Okay.
moment, so it's you're near enough. You're literally like 5k from me at the moment, so you know it's I'm pretty easy to find. So one advantage of having a red ship in the dark, or twilight or whatever. I'll just hover over here for a bit. Yeah, there we are. Okay, I'll hover over a bit until everyone's sort of got where they're going, and then I'll land. Yeah. It's not really another location, it's just like a slightly different place in this like same rough location.
Yeah. Just thought I'd stick it in chat for anyone who's.
No, that's a good idea. 'Cause I know what you
voice.
mean. And there's another layer of complexity to the game that often isn't
Yeah.
apparent to people who haven't played it before. There's like in-game chat, like literally in the game. There's Discord chat, voice and text. And then there's also, if you're streaming, there's people in Twitch as well. So you've potentially got like 4 different chats. And it's hard keeping up with 2 of them,
God,
let
no.
alone keeping up with 4. I mean, to be fair, I think other people have probably found the same who stream expeditions, is that, you know, you don't actually look at the streaming chat as much, only because, you know, it's generally not as active, depending on how big a stream you are, of course. Obviously, if you're like a professional streamer, you probably would pay a lot of attention to it. But if you're like mostly an explorer, then you probably would it would be like the last of your chat priorities. It's nothing to do with the chat itself, it's just because you have to concentrate on what you're doing like there and then in game. That sort of matters most, because there's no point in like starting the chat and then crashing into a canyon wall halfway through it, so it doesn't look too good, you know.
Yeah, that'll be bad.
Yeah, other people crashing on the stream is one thing, but the actual streamer crashing is it's not a good look for the streamer. Can be quite fun though. People do like to see streamers crash and die. That is true. Oh well. Okay, I'll bring myself over here. Right. Now, Get out the lovely SRV. Talking to a friend of mine earlier about this expedition because that's something vaguely interesting and late. And I was sort of saying about, I think how Sagittarius I ran about a month ago a piece on A, the expedition, and B, you know, how like the lunar rover in the later Apollo missions compares to an SRV, and of course they're quite different, but it's kind of a fun comparison.
Yeah, it's the rover does sort of look like a Scarab in a way.
Yeah, like it's an early version of, yeah.
I don't know whether that's what FDev was modelling it from, you know, in a sort of sense,
Yeah.
but
Well, it's a starting point, isn't it? I mean, that's like the only known, like, yeah, human vehicle on another world, so it's like the only reference point you've really got other than sci-fi. So, you know, it does make sense, yeah. Okay. Remember, actually switch my SRV hangar on before I deploy. Hello to you out there in Twitchland. I hope you're at least being entertained by our foolery here on the stream. I think SRV automatically switches its lights on, doesn't it? And it's better to have the night vision on here. You can see a lot more as well, and it doesn't slow everything up so much. Somewhat it's a shame the ship doesn't have like an underlight to it that you can, you know, illuminates the whole underside as you approach it.
like a, yeah.
Can I get a wing invite?
Hey Mac. Yep, sure. I will try and get you in. Yep, sent you one. Okay, I'm sort of moving towards the left-hand side of the canyon where the racing start will begin. It's this sort of, there is actually a physical marker for this, thankfully. There's this sort of big, how you describe it, a sort of, you know, scar or outcrop at the side. Not really, I don't know if outcrop's the right word, it probably isn't, but this sort of big sort of raised a bit in the middle of the canyon wall. Crater wall, I should say.
Are we aiming to drive
Around,
the whole
yeah. We are,
conference?
yeah. Exactly. See how long it takes before we then
Canyon
work
wall.
out anything else of the the crater wall or whatever.
Like NASCAR style.
Absolutely, yeah, as best you can, really. Because
Which direction are we driving? Are we driving
right,
the left-hand side? Or
we're
the
driving
right?
like towards the left, anti-clockwise. So yeah, towards the left. I mean, I'm kind of getting to the point where like the start's supposed to be, and it's taken me longer than I thought because it always does in an SRV, doesn't it? You like fly for 2 seconds, like yeah, I'm there. That's great. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Try walking it in Odyssey. It's even slower.
Oh, absolutely. Now I did an Odyssey instance test with some commands and expedition before the expedition began, just to you know, to see how instancing would work, and we had a group of about 10, 12 people, and the actual instancing worked all right. It was, you know, as you say, we were climbing a mountain, and it looked like, oh, that's not really a mountain, like a hill. We will climb that in no time, thinking we were in an SRV, that kind of speed, thinking, you know, it'll take us about 15 minutes. We'll be bored by the end of that. We'll have to do something else. We'll climb the other mountain there afterwards. We couldn't even get to the top of this supposed hill. You know, it was literally impossible to get to the top of it because we were thinking with our SRV brains, you know.
There was sub-peaks to this mountain.
Yeah.
You got to the top of the one peak, and then you realised there was another peak, and then another peak.
Yeah. Even it seemed worse than that because we couldn't even get to the first kind of like supposed peak. I think even the best person of the group didn't actually get that far. So it was like, even with, you know, using techniques of like jumping up with like a pack at the same time and little jet boost and what have you, it still couldn't make it. So, but that's what I'm thinking, saying about, you know, the idea with Odyssey that they changed the terrain so that you could get everywhere. Maybe you could drop someone everywhere, but you can't go everywhere. You can't walk up everywhere on foot. It's definitely not possible. Okay. I'm kind of pointing the direction vaguely we're supposed to be going in, but yeah, the idea is like a NASCAR or sort of round race, kind of stick to the canyon walls as best you can, and come back to this point, which is this sort of raised section, as you can sort of see up to the side. It's like it sort of sticks out a bit, but it's like to
Just
the
park the ship here.
yeah. You see it in the Discord chat, and there's the little map that I've drawn. That gives you some idea, maybe, of like vaguely what's going on here. Like where the blue line is approximately where we are, and then you sort of go around the edge of that. But I mean, it could take us a while to do this. We just don't know. Oh well.
We've kind of. There's hardly any ships here. Have they all dismissed themselves? Or something?
I'm going to assume so. I mean, the SRV's near me at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I've
my
seen
ship's
some SRVs going up this hill.
Yeah, there's a bunch of SRVs here, so I'm assuming all the ships must have dismissed. But that's actually not a bad thing because, you know, well, less ganker threat as well. You know, because you know what happened recently with, you know, people in
Yeah.
SRVs with the ganker. Yeah, all the ships were still there and they hadn't been dismissed or anything. So it's probably safer this way anyway. So yeah, we're all here by the looks of it. You're still on your way in then, Mac?
I've just landed.
Okay, cool. We'll hang around for a little bit. I think I see your lights in the distance actually. Well, at least one of the lights of your ship anyway. So we'll give it a few minutes, and if you're still in the same wing as me, then that's pretty straightforward, isn't it, to navigate to where
I've just left the wing in case you need to wing anybody else in. But I see the SRVs halfway up this hill.
Yeah, cool.
Commander Solar Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see your SRV now. So
Cool. Yeah. No, that's good.
I was a bit worried at first because I dropped in from Super Cruise and I couldn't, because normally you can see your wingmates appear as blue hollow squares, but nobody did. But that's because you're all in SRVs.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't until I was much closer that you started.
Yeah. I suppose that's a reminder of scale we say in the game. It's like on foot. It's like when you're walking around, you know, in Odyssey and the station next to your ship, it always seems much bigger than you anticipated. Again, because it's always to do with scale, isn't it? Because you're used to seeing it in an SRV, which is a different situation, yeah. I suppose that's the thing with like Odyssey running. You have to really use a combination of the SRV and on foot to really do things. Because you go on foot, you just be there forever walking between A and B, you know. It'll be really weird. Be like Apollo 14 when they just exhausted themselves walking between A and B. It's the last mission without the rover, and they should have had a rover for that one, but they didn't. It wasn't finished yet, so yeah, bit of a shame that one. I think what's made a mistake is like you've got the most athletically demanding run because they're going to climb up a crater rim, which was quite steep, like almost like a walking up a mountain. In a spacesuit, it's really hard, and you also pick the two oldest guys of the lunar landing program to do it. Not a good move. They should really have like swapped them over for a younger crew. Nothing wrong with Alan Shepard and crew, of course, but they were literally the oldest crew to fly, so you know, not NASA's best choice there, I'm afraid. So there you have it. Okay, let me know when you're caught up.
Yeah,
with
I've just joined.
Okay.
Sorry, I've just joined the line.
Okay, awesome.
Where
Right.
are we? Because I missed the first bit. Where are we actually
Okay.
racing?
Okay, we're racing around the rim of the crater, NASCAR, round your own style, until we get back to this point. As you see in the Discord chat for this group, for Flotilla 3, the little map. So that just illustrates what we're doing. It's just get back to this point. Basically, we're going to see how long it takes because we don't really know how long it's going to take. Okay.
And how many people are going to explode?
Well, this is the thing. This is the big unknown at all times, you know. If in doubt,
I remember-
repair.
I remember when we did it on the MCE, we started using the wreckage of SRVs as waypoints as we raced around the
You
crater.
did. Absolutely, because it's a good way of navigating. Okay. If
At least
everyone...
we got fleet carriers to replenish them on there.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's so much easier now to do that. But yeah, those days you had to look after your SRV. Because sometimes people only had one SRV, and it's like, what am I going to do now? Do I go back to civilization and replenish it, or do I stick with the expedition and fly around all the time, acting as like, a marker or something? But, different times, I suppose. Okay, we're all ready to run. Let's get going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ah. Oh, my handbrake button's different in Odyssey.
Really?
It's crashed.
Why is it different? Why did you bind it differently?
I didn't mean to. I just did. I need to change the bindings in Odyssey so that they match Horizons. Yes. Unlike it, everybody crashed within 100 yards of the start.
A lot of people went flying as well.
Whoop. Someone just swerved into me.
There's like a small crater within the crater, and that's pretty accurate, I think. You know, all these moons, Earth's moon, what other moons in the solar system? They all have these like sub craters, don't they? Craters within craters within craters. Oh my!
Caught some big air.
Oh, that was another thing about this Odyssey instance test that we did. Is like we spent like half the time trying to get out of this crater that we didn't think was very big. Again, it's like using SRV brain, thinking, oh, that will take like 30 seconds to cross. It took us like half an hour to cross it. We weren't sure we could get out at one point. You know, like I suppose it's realistic in that regard. You know, that you could your foot mechanics are just completely different order of mobility.
I found one or two really cool sites. Well, because I've been doing the main stuff in Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
And I found some pretty cool sites actually as we on our travels.
Yeah, like.
So I found this nice. I posted a picture of it. It looked like I was on the salt flats in Utah,
Oh right, okay,
Oh yeah, I remember that post.
that's pretty cool.
which was pretty neat. And I found a
Complete
couple of
that.
others with these nice little canyons and gullies, which are filled with rocks at the bottom, and sort of mountains in the background.
And just sort of boosting around at the moment.
I also tried some. I found there's a technique that sometimes works when mountain climbing. You can jump and then use your jetpack and then hold the forward key to kind of send yourself forward into the thing you're trying to climb, and then keep pressing forward, and you'll kind of slide up a lot further than you can just by jetpacking.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I was referring
Yeah,
to
wasn't
earlier
that,
about climbing techniques. So.
Yeah. Never actually tried that using the SRV to do that
I'm not
Precision.
sure it's.
climbing, vertical wall climbing. Oh, seems to
I'm
have
not sure
collided
how
into-
intended the behavior is, but if the gradient is right, it works quite well,
Mhm.
and you can go quite far,
Hmm.
and because there are footholds you can get on foot, which you can get very easily in an SRV. So you can,
Hmm.
I think you can certainly climb some things on foot that you can't in an SRV.
Mhm.
The trouble is time is you can spend a lot of time doing this and then realise your suit power is a little bit on the low side.
Mhm.
And hope you brought some power packs with you.
The weird thing is, the on-foot stuff, and I've got quite a low-power computer for Odyssey, but it's one of the few things that seems to actually like work as advertised is the on-foot element for me. I'm talking about like out in the black here, not on the station. On the station, it's just
Yeah.
annoying, you know. But yeah, out in the black, it's kind of all right for me actually, which it isn't always. Like flying around a planetary surface in the ship is just it's now worse than ever for me. I can't even get it to work properly. I'm like 2 frames a second kind of territory. It was okay actually
mine's
previously.
Mine's not that bad, but yeah, the frame I've had to kind of abandon VR in Odyssey. I mean, it works fine in space,
Mhm.
but the frame rate's too poor on planets. But to be fair, the planets there's a lot more there are a lot more different textures on the planet, so it's putting a lot more demand on the GPU's memory.
I read someone say recently that I can't remember the evidence they had for this, but that there was some kind of like design mistake when they were making Odyssey that overloaded or had a sort of funnel effect towards the CPU, that it was taking too much strain and the GPU wasn't actually taking that much strain, relatively speaking.
Oh, my GPU's at 100% all the time.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, maybe different
Yeah.
machines react differently as well. Because you know this
It
recent.
might be.
Yeah, go.
It might be on higher end graphics card. I have noticed that there's been a little bit of an easing in the
Oh.
ridiculous prices of graphics cards
A little bit, yeah.
recently.
Hmm.
Like the RTX 3080 prices, there are some of the premium brand ones, like now not constantly out of stock and only in stock in places that sell them for twice RRP. So there is some easing on the
Yeah.
GPU.
Well,
Relative easing, yeah. It's still expensive as
I was going
hell,
to say
yeah.
you still have to spend over £1,000 to get it though.
Yeah, I'm
It's
just going to
a little
order a
bit-
new machine. I'm not going to buy a new card or anything like that because it's pointless. It's more cost effective to buy a new machine than it is to go off and buy a separate graphics card at the moment, at least, anyway. I mean, who knows? In 6 months, a year might be completely different, but yeah.
You can thank the crypto miners for the expensive
Yes, yes.
graphics card.
Well, the reason that I dislike the crypto
Price
miners
hike.
is that I don't dislike for what they do. It's the fact that they're depriving me of nice graphics cards. Of that, and also the fact that there are specific crypto mining machines that do exist. So there's no reason other than their own greed that they're buying graphics cards. You know, because it is a little bit cheaper for them to do that than buy the custom machine. But I'm sure it must be more efficient in the long run to use these custom machines, like for anything. You know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is annoying, isn't it? Yeah.
32-bit hex number is saying he's lost, which is a problem because we're all following him.
At the moment, I'm following Sigma,
Well-
actually. At least I think it's him. Actually, I might not.
Yeah,
I've
I've
overtaken
gone
somebody.
past.
Yeah,
I've gone past B8, but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's who I'm
I-
trying to follow because he was in the lead, so I have him selected, so I don't get
Um,
lost. No, he says he's lost.
I'm on the wall of the canyon somewhere. Sorry, the wall of the crater somewhere at an angle, so I know that I'm going in the right direction, but I don't know. I think Sigma's ahead of me.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
kind
not
of
even
following
sure either.
him. I think he's going vaguely in the right direction. But this is the thing. It's
we
like,
may get lost.
even if you like,
Just
you know,
warning you.
like myself, that you've actually like reconned the site before. I mean, if you're in an SRV, as you know, it looks completely different all of a sudden. And it's like,
Because it's nighttime.
well, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's so even then navigating's not the easiest thing.
Yeah, we've kind of got to a point where it looks like there's a canyon running through this crater now.
It's weird, isn't it? 'Cause
So I don't know whether to
from above, that's not
continue. or-
obvious. Let's just keep going where we're going and see where it takes us. Because to be fair, we could be like stuck
Hello.
in. Hi.
Hello.
What moon are you on?
We're on AB1E.
Oh, okay. I know where that one is. Okay.
The one with the big mountains.
D's got
Oh, they
big
both have
mountains
big
as well.
mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Oh,
both
right.
are cool. in
The
their
other
own
one
way.
with the big mountains.
Yeah.
absolutely. Let's
It's
see.
it's the not so spiky boy.
Yeah. That's right. That's a good
It's
description.
the one with the yellow snow.
That's it. The one you should never eat.
Yes.
Yes.
I think Yannick's been here before us.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Yannick.
Oh dear.
My apologies.
Yeah. But as we were saying, like this, there's always like these sub craters and sub like canyons, often in these bigger like craters and canyons and things. So it does get a bit confusing after a while.
Yeah. I'm just running through this trench the way that I am thinking is the edge of the canyon.
I think we're on the edge of the canyon. Yeah, all data still indicates we're on the edge of the canyon. I knew that it wasn't like completely smooth or anything, but I'd be kind of slightly disturbed if it was. Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
We may have gone too far. Never
I.
mind.
But yeah, to be fair, we're all kind of making educated guesses, really, as to where we're going.
Anybody got a
Oh,
wing
bull
invite
riding
for me when I
ones.
get there?
Sorry, who's asking?
Logan.
Okay, I thought it might be. Yeah. As he's flying through the NSRV, trying to use the other hand to invite people. Not necessarily recommended, but you know, it's what I do.
I'm rolling down the hill.
As you do. As everybody does, to be
Just
fair.
saw an SRV just rolling in front of me. Probably you.
Yeah, I'm still going. Oh, I think I'm coming to rest. Oh no, I'm rolling some more.
Yeah.
Or y'all doing SRV races?
We're doing like a round and round of a crater at the moment, and we're still being confused in terms of navigation. You thought it'd be simple going round a crater, but it's not, is it?
I was 200 meters behind Sigma. Now I'm 1.5 kilometers.
Yeah, I was like 200 meters close recently as well. Now I'm like best part of a kilometer behind, and he's accelerating away from me, which I'm not quite sure how that's happening, but somehow it is. I did just spin though, to be fair. Yep, he's found a magic way to do this.
Well, I don't have an SRV with me on this, but I'll provide some Overwatch.
Cool.
I've already been doing some SRV racing on the other on Flotilla 4.
Cool.
Got myself blown up.
Oh right.
I was going to say
Is
there
that why
must
you're
be a
here?
reason why you don't have an SRV.
Well, I've got it restocked, but I figured, hey, let's see what they needed. They needed space for one more guy, and I thought, well, that's a sign right there. It's time for me to get out of here.
Fair dues. Someone was asking, we're doing another lap. I'm not even sure we've completed the first lap, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe we are. Maybe we're coming up to the first lap. I'm not actually sure. We could be. That is the answer. We could be coming up to the first lap. I suspect we might be now actually coming up to the end of lap 1. Because it's looking a little bit familiar. Well, no, we're doing one lap. That's what I'm saying. But we're saying how long one lap would take us. And I'm trying to guess what, like, at the moment we probably coming to the end
It's
of lap
kind
1.
of inconvenient. Nobody crashed their SRV right at the start, so we knew where the start line was.
Yes. How the very, very selfish of them not to die.
Oh, was that?
You
Not
guys
so
have
obvious.
another wing? I get a wing invite?
Okay. It has to be someone else because I'm full at the moment. Ooh, I found another sub-crater. That's fun.
Who's asking for a wing invite?
Are you sure?
It's Phantom here. I just got in.
Oh yeah, Grey Phantom. Okay, I'm gonna say that we just did complete one lap. Just by like reckoning, really.
I'm spinning out.
Should we just keep going actually? Because this is kind of fun.
Well, since we don't have a clear line of
Yeah.
racing, basically,
Mhm.
there was something that we could do, which I did when I trained athletics. So you all run, and the first one is the one who chooses the path. So if you wanna choose where to go, get in front of the first person.
Fair enough.
So then we used to run through the woods, and if you now I know where I wanna take them, and you would just run faster to get in front, and then take them over logs or things like that.
At the moment, Sigma, I think, is actually in the lead, as far as I can tell. But so he's like
Are
leading
y'all
the way.
trying to climb up this hill?
No, we're going like round the edge of the crater that we're in, as best we can.
Oh, okay.
Like oval racing, but
At the moment,
weirder.
at the moment, I'm behind BE8, who seems to have gotten the hang of
Well done,
SRV bouncing.
BE8. Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to get a good view of. Doesn't look like a crater. My perspective may be off, though.
Yeah, well, where we are at the moment should be a crater, unless we've accidentally lost ourselves and ended up somewhere else. It looks like a crater still from where we are, I think, right? Yeah.
I've never quite got the hang of this fliving thing.
Yeah, it is a bit of a black art, really, isn't it?
Some people are really good at it.
Yeah, but this is the
crazy.
thing. It's like you've got thousands of hours in the game. You're like Mac, like myself, has like led expeditions before. We know what we're doing, but it's still not mastered the art of SRV flying. Which, yeah, this goes to show it's not the easiest
have
of
to
skill.
Talk to Alec Turner. I think he's somebody who knows how to fly.
He does, yeah. I think I'm better at it than I used to be, but I'm still
thought
not
it was
that great. Yeah.
I thought it was funny on live radio because Sureen was describing as Alec Turner as the meekest, mildest person he knew, and he expressed surprise when Alec Turner says, if they dumb down the SRV characteristics in Odyssey, I'll find which developer did it and pee through their letterbox.
An interesting way of putting it. Okay, yeah. Ooh, I'm spinning like a top at the moment. I'm going to follow these guys, yeah. Yeah, Alex said it is generally pretty sort of mild-mannered, that is true. But yeah, I think the thing is, I don't know how an experience, I've seen some people who seem to have contradictory views on this, but my personal experience was that the SRV model has changed for Odyssey.
Might have been.
Subtly. I mean, I think in the alpha it was blatantly different. In now it's kind of like halfway between it was in alpha and as it is here in Horizons. So like it's different, but not like, but in kind of fairly subtle ways, but enough to notice. I mean, I do a lot of like driving games, so I like have quite a good sort of feel for different kind of vehicle characteristics, and it's definitely different. You know.
It might not be the SRV itself. It might be the surfaces. If the coefficients of friction are different now, it might have changed handling a bit.
Yeah, the effect's the same.
I think
though,
it was
isn't
partly
it, really?
confused by the invisible rocks and things like that. Which were confusing matters somewhat.
Yeah. Even if it's just the surfaces, it definitely feels different though. And I will say, it's like, you know, into like, you know, a lot of PC racing games, even ones that are quite serious simulations, SRV is actually harder to drive than, like, you know, most racing cars are, which is quite amusing if you think about it.
I like that it's got a high skill ceiling, but it is off-road. You have to remember SRVs is off-roading.
It is, yeah. I think it's easy to drive an SRV just around, but it's hard to drive it efficiently. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's hard to drive an SRV without spinning it a certain amount or crashing it a certain amount. You know.
Depends what gravity the world is that you're driving on.
Higher G ones, yeah, there's more.
Yeah,
grav,
1G
then
worlds
it's
are
harder.
definitely easier than less than. This is only
Yeah.
0.07. So
But the place that expeditions tend to be kind of like less than half a G, so most of the time it's going to be closer to this than it is to like 1G grip.
Yeah, it's
I'm
quite hard
guessing-
not to skid out.
Exactly.
I'm getting further and further.
Oh, I
behind.
was skidding out or getting turned around so much in the SRV races. I was like, maybe I should just drive this thing backwards because that's where it seems to want to go.
And did it work?
I mean, it. No, it
Okay,
doesn't. But
that's a shame.
I was making a joke about, you know, this thing has such a fat ass rear end. I ought to be listening to Queen's Fat Bottom Girls while I'm racing.
Sounds about right.
Normally, I don't have any complaints about the SRV, but then I don't try to race it usually.
This is the thing, isn't it? Yeah, you're not really trying as hard or putting much pressure on yourself to actually get anything done if you're not racing with anyone. Because usually, if you're going around looking for materials, you're just looking for the materials, aren't you? Not really going that fast most of the time. At least I don't. Anyway.
That's a good question. B8 has. Where is the?
This is the point where we've kind of lost it in a way. It's like we thought we knew where it was, but we're not actually sure now. We think we've lost it.
I believe we might have even gone out of the crater we started in.
That is possible. Yeah, we're not actually sure.
I recognise things in the crater, so I think
we're still in the crater. I agree. The crater's a bit uneven, so I think we are still in the same crater. It's just because there's all these sub craters and like other little spurs within it and what have you. It's kind of you sometimes think that you're out of the crater when you're not. You're still in it.
What were the coordinates for the starting point?
Oh,
Do you
right.
know those?
I didn't actually note them down. I probably should have done, but I was just too busy trying to like do all the other things I needed to do, and probably should have made a note of that. But yeah, it's a sort of raised point. If you look on the map, there's a sort of raised area. I think we might be coming around to it now. Actually, we might be on it now. I think, sort of raised.
Fexa says 2.4k away to our right.
Okay.
Where's Fexa? Of course, that would depend on where Fexla is.
Yeah, this is all these are all good questions. I don't know where they are. Twerk right, and I'm last. Yeah, okay. And now it's the other sub crazy. I think
mean,
we've done at
I
least
can
2 laps.
see-
Yeah.
I can see
think this is
Z-
lap 2.
Sigma,
Yeah, I think I've seen bits
Vatroslav,
repeat. Yeah.
and I think if I
Ooh.
turn around, I've got
So there.
yeah.
No
There's the
spots.
right, right there.
Yeah, here we go. Right.
Can't get a wing. Is it too full?
Let me
You want
see.
me to- I could drop.
It's okay. Try and get someone else involved. Mac, do you have a free wing at the moment?
Yeah, who's asking for a wing?
It's Phantom here.
I don't think you're on my friends list.
Okay. Mac wins.
You
I
might
think it's
have to
Grey
send me a
Phantom.
friend request. Grey.
Let me
Grey
see if I
Phantom.
can.
It says you're an open play.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, sometimes
me
it's a
fix that.
bug. Yeah. Sometimes it does that, even if you're not. I think Sigma's nearly 4K ahead of me now. This is getting silly.
Oh, I've forgotten where I'm supposed to go now.
It looks like you're in the right place. So if the reading shows that you're like on the canyon wall, then sorry, the crater wall, then you're in the right place. It just gets confusing after a while. I think you just keep going round and thinking, am I in the right place or not? You know, but you know.
I am now 3.3 kilometers behind.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going the right way anymore.
I think you. I don't know actually, because I'm just. You are like coming towards me, which is maybe an indication you've either spun or going in the wrong direction.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just gonna follow BE8.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I've gone round that much.
Might have
that
been the
I'm
start
dizzy.
point. Where just B8 and myself are arriving in Sigma, you already passed this. This might have been the start point because it's an elevated
Okay.
section.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And I can see that the center of the crater, which is also elevated as a hill,
Yeah.
is to the left.
Okay.
Same as it was on the start. So we might have just done a full circle.
I think we've done at least 2.
Might have.
I think we've done 2 laps of this.
Yeah.
Probably.
How did I end up going sideways?
It's very easy to do in these. We say like the grip on these surfaces is very low. You're very easy to go sideways. I now have lost my
now
bearings
that
almost
you
completely.
mention that the center of the crater has a raised section. Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'm gonna fly right on top of this raised hill here,
Cool.
and maybe provide a reference point.
Okay, great.
Okay.
And we're flying straight towards Getadoy.
I can't see
I
him at the
think
moment.
I'm just about the center of that raised portion there. I'm not landed.
Well, I
Still
see
should
it.
be able to
Points if
see
you can
me.
land on his
This place
courier.
is pretty deep, actually, isn't it? And
All
now
this talk of losing track of where you are reminds me of a joke I heard years ago. So there's a group of economists who have decided to go mountain climbing, and they get a little lost, and they decide to check on all their maps and all. And the one economist says to the other, "Do you know where we are?" And the economist checks all his tables and checks his maps and checks his compass and all that, and he says, "According to all the data, we're on that mountain over there."
Oh, right.
That's very familiar to most explorers, I think, isn't it? It's like, are you okay? Are we where we should
Yes.
be? Probably not.
I always say I'm never lost. I always know where I am. I'm here. It's just a question of where here is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, as I say in Buckaroo
Here is
Banzai,
over there.
no matter where you go,
There
you are.
Exactly. I think that quote's more famous than the series is, you know. There's lots of places that show has never really been, you know, seen by the people. Like, I think most people in the UK would never know where that quote comes from, but they're familiar with the quote.
Huh?
Okay.
Buckaroo. Some people think Buckaroo Banzai and Big Trouble in Little China exist in the same universe
Oh, okay.
because they share a writer.
Interesting.
All things considered, I find the idea appealing.
It's always interesting when you get things that you don't think are in the same universe end up being in the same universe. I think most people aren't aware that, like, I think it was it Blake 7 and Doctor Who are actually in the same universe, just that the BBC never allowed that to be revealed.
Well, they certainly seem to share the same budget. At least they did back in the
They share the
70s
same
and 80s,
writers
yeah.
as well, mostly, so yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense when you actually think that, you know, they are in the same universe, because, you know, the aliens that invade the galaxy at the end of Series 2, they're supposed to be the Daleks, you just don't get to see the actual creatures, you know.
Oh, okay.
That makes a lot more sense all of a sudden, you know.
The only Blake 7 episode I really remember is the one where it blows up and there's like it gets acid on it or some kind of corrosive microorganism. And it
Yeah,
ends
and then
up blowing up.
Yeah,
good
and then the last season or two, they wind up in a different ship. That one's nothing special like the Liberator, but they make do.
It's a good series still, yeah. The Scorpio, yeah, exactly.
Pretty bold of them to just to decide just to say, "Oh, they lose."
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, I think people have said this is like a cultural difference between like Britain and the US. Is like a lot of US sci-fi tends to have at least some kind of like silver lining in it, or at least some sense of hope. But a lot of British sci-fi that's sometimes missing as well. And Blake 7 is like, okay, you know, British sci-fi standards it's pretty dark, but you know, the good guys don't win this one, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blake 7's pretty bold. Think about it, you the main character is not in it anymore for the last 2 seasons. The main ship is destroyed as well, and it's still really good.
Yeah.
Actually, my Anaconda's called Scorpio after the second Blake 7 ship, so not really surprising that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Another one of those things I recommend to anyone who's never watched it. It's pretty much on YouTube these days. I think you can find it for free there.
Come to think of it, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff. The only thing it's like it's a bit dark to watch, like as in a binge. Really, I wouldn't recommend watching more than a series at a time in a binge because it just gets a bit sort of overwhelming if you watch it one after one after one like that. You know.
Yeah.
It's like
watch one a week, just like presented.
Otherwise, it's like watching like 24-hour news in a war zone, but like for 2 days straight without sleeping. Okay, it's not quite that bad, but a little bit that way.
Yeah.
It's cool though.
Yeah. I think I've completed the third lap of this.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're coming across that race. Well, I'm coming across that race section again. That was probably the start-finish section. Awesome. Okay.
Watching the radar slowly turning around me as you guys make your way around.
Yeah.
I'm slightly lost. I spun out a couple of times and
I'm thinking because of the time factor, we're like at 1/2 now. If we want to do like the cliff dive, then we're gonna have to do that quite soon, actually. Otherwise, we're gonna run out of time. Yeah, I'm gonna actually try and recall my ship and try and get some perspective on exactly where we are and where we've been, and then probably find the cliff jumping place that I scouted earlier. Because I found a sort of flat part where we can land ships and SRVs can assemble. So I'll do that then.
Mm-hmm.
I do like an Elite, obviously. This is mostly Braben's influence, I think, and a few other people. That the sort of various nods to different sci-fi series, both American and British, usually.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. A few Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy bits in there as well.
Oh yeah. If you go to my YouTube channel, I've got a playlist for both exploration and for canyon racing.
Mm-hmm.
And the one for exploration starts off with Eagle's The Journey of the Sorcerer, which is, of course, the theme to Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah.
I just had a.
Oh, the
thought.
part of the SRV just briefly obscured for a long time. That did make sense. My recalling ship, and all of a sudden I had horrible recollections of that time we were in a canyon and about 7 ships being recalled crashed into the side of the canyon and
That was
exploded.
unfortunate. That was Orion, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that was pretty
Boy, that was a
interesting.
bad day.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, it's not what you expect, is it? Like to all have the same autopilot error, like about 7 different ships at the same time.
I was just glad I'd landed my ship up at the top and got in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that used to happen if you were down in a canyon or there was some rugged terrain around your site, your landing site, and the ship just came down. The computers never used to like calculate if there was terrain in front of them.
Yeah.
Still does that if you're up on a mountain and you recall your ship. Sometimes, I don't know if it's a bug or something.
Yeah.
That has happened to me a few times.
Right, I've got some perspective on the site now, I think. Just raising my ship up a bit to confirm it, but yeah. Okay, that was like that central part of the
Nice.
Oh, there it is. Somebody linked this to me, or I found it somehow, but there's a short 30-second video of apparently two actual players. One's in a beluga and one is in a cutter, and they are both using auto docking, and somehow or other the computer puts them into the mail slot at the same time, and they actually managed to go through.
Wow.
No way.
Unexpected. Very unexpected, actually.
The comments on the video are hilarious. The one at the top says, "That poor station will be orbiting with a limp tomorrow."
Wow. Okay, I think, yeah, we were still in the canyon, and we were going around it. We didn't, so we were not canyon, so the crater. We were still going around the crater. We didn't go into an alternate canyon or anything. That was the one crater. It was just kind of very rough, going all the way around.
Very rough.
Yeah, surprisingly so. It looked a little bit rough from the air, but oh well, hey ho. I have to now find my way in the semi-darkness. Things always look different, don't they, without light?
Well,
okay, I think I'm finding the spot where I was. Hauntingly green terrain. I think this is the right place. Looks that way. Complete blackness otherwise. Ha! This is going to be amusing. I don't know. This seemed much higher when I scouted earlier. Then again, I am in night vision, so the perspective changes a little bit. It's probably fine, but there you have
Are
it.
you saying that we're going to try and make it across this canyon?
No. I'm talking about a cliff jump from into the canyon from up here. I'm just trying to remember, work out which exact section did I scout earlier under different lighting conditions. So yeah, I think I'm in the right place to where I was. I'm pretty sure I am actually. It just looked a bit different. See, actually, Commander Sigma, that's exactly where I was going to land anyway. So there you go.
Oh, right.
That's cool. So you've preempted me quite nicely. Cool. I will try and...
would you like me to hover out here as a sort of guide for where the angle you want to jump?
If you like, yeah, that's cool. You can maybe shine some light down there or something. Or if you've got a mining laser, that would be kind of cool. See where my ship is. I'll point the nose to the canyon. That canyon is one we're going to try the cliff jumping into. So yeah.
Oh, I'm not over the wrong spot. Okay.
Sure. No, I can see you over there. You're
you're-
from me.
Let me see if I can get.
Yeah, just like shine a beam maybe into the canyon. Actually, doesn't really seem to work very well. It just disappears into the darkness very quickly.
Let's see. I need to find. Oh, there we go. Unit. Target you. Are you pointed in the direction you want to go?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So let me just kind of like.
I'm gonna land now. Anyone who's already in an SRV, just if you can climb up to where I am now, where my ship is.
Okay, so I'm gonna head straight out that way. And do you expect to land in one of these smaller sub canyons or on the ledge?
Oh
the
no,
first ledge?
we expect to die.
Oh, okay.
That's what a cliff jump usually. There's two kinds of cliff jump. Ones you expect to survive. Ones you don't expect to survive. This is one you don't expect to survive.
I see.
If you survive, it's a bonus.
I see.
Having said that, assuming you can get out again.
Suicide.
All right.
This place we might not be able to get out again to looking at the moment, so it's probably wise that basically if you survive this one, you've really got to self-destruct because otherwise it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But I can actually
Okay. Let me get it.
find a place where my ship
because I can just
is okay
shine
with landing on.
headlights in the. There we go. And I will probably have a lovely ringside seat for the destruction.
Yay. Here we go.
Okay. All right, my headlights are on. Can y'all see me just fine?
I'm getting out to my SRV right now, so I'll see when I get out. Yeah, thanks for the low gravity warning, computer. Right, let's have a look. I can see the other people's ships. I can see Sigma over here. I can see the Condor over there. Petroslav.
It's a shame there isn't like a nice landing zone on that mountain top over there. If you could get all our ships on there, that would be a good SRV.
That was the first place I looked at earlier, but I couldn't find appropriate landing zone, so that's why we're here, really. Then I came across this, and after realising that we literally couldn't land ships there, so yeah, you're right. It is a shame.
Some of those really extremely tall mountains on this, as well as the other world, Rocky Ice World, have platforms at the top where
Yeah.
they're completely smooth and landable.
Some of them
So
do,
you
yeah.
can land ships on there and then jump off.
Yeah. You can
It's
find
a
them.
long way down.
I just didn't find one today. I think Kit found one, or someone in Kit's instance, Flotilla, found one, and it looks pretty interesting. Yeah, but to be fair, with his one, he said it was only quite a small ledge. You could only get one ship at a time to land on it.
Right.
So it'd have taken a while for a whole flotilla to do that.
That is true.
And then you had the people like hanging around up there waiting for the off, basically. But yeah, it would have been amusing. Okay, I see most people have already made it up here, so that's cool. Right, awesome. So the plan is this. Traditional sort of cliff jumping, for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with it, it's just literally pretty much a death dive straight into the canyon, and this, sometimes the SRV will survive, but sometimes it won't, or it'll get stuck and it won't get out. But, you know, it's just supposed to be for, like, drama and just the sheer sort of exhilaration of it, and see all these SRVs around you plummeting at the same time. It's kind of fun to watch. And from the outside as well, it's incredibly funny. But yeah, the idea is that, and then after SRV destruction, we'll head to orbit for a good old-fashioned mass jump to end this wonderful excursion into the canyon
Sounds good to me.
and to this part of the galaxy. Yeah. Okay. Is everyone in their SRVs who's got SRVs out here? I can see a lot of people nearby. I'm going to go to external cam anyway for a second just to capture the moment, as it were. The thing is about my metallic design, or someone's got their backside in the air already. Yeah, my metallic looking one is it's quite interesting. Oh, I've gone through the thing. Because you can spot it from a long way off usually. Yeah, you can't see night vision in external cam, but you get a general idea of where we are and what we're doing. You see the gas giant in the background over there, and then somewhere beyond the lights is that dark cliff. So yeah. Okay. Well, I'll put my lights on as well. Actually, doesn't matter so much about. Actually, enough people have got lights on to see what we're doing, so that's fine. I've got myself in night vision anyway, so it's all good. Right. Are we all ready to go?
I think so.
I hope so as well. Right. Let's do our thing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump.
That's a lot of SRVs just going flying.
Actually coming
All I can hear
to
is
a halt before I thought I would.
SRVs colliding. That's a long way down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of those mountains earlier on, and it was saying a shame I couldn't get to the top because it was like a 9k drop. So it's like that's pretty impressive actually. I think the one that Kit found was it 24 kilometers or something ludicrous. It's like, yeah, I can see why.
Oh really?
Yeah, no, I think that was the whole
I think
unique selling point of that
24.
one.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
probably like the max height.
I think the actual mountain wasn't quite 24. This face of the mountain was like 24 though, you see. Because I think, isn't like Mount Nervi or whatever is a Mount Everest like about that kind of height anyway? I can't remember what the actual height of Mount Everest.
Possibly.
It could be higher than that. It could be like 30. I don't remember.
Incoming. Boom. Oh, I didn't actually explode. I only lost 50% of my health.
It's a fickle
Oh,
creature,
nice.
the SRV.
And I'm stuck
was
in a
ex-
ditch. Oh,
I was expecting
Yeah.
to explode. Anyway, it seems like I've won the race to the bottom.
Well done. It's not often you want to hear that, but in this case, it's not a bad thing.
unfortunately, FDev are killing off Mount Everest in
Apparently
Odyssey.
so, yeah.
Yeah. I've been to the actual coordinates in Odyssey and it's nowhere.
Yeah,
fair.
that does not surprise
It's
me.
just flat.
The thing is, obviously with the
There might be
terrain,
another Neverest though.
with the
there
terrain
might be a new
tiles
one.
repeating, even if there's a tall mountain, it's going to be exactly the same mountain again, and that's what kind of a sad part of me. The biggest mountain I've ever personally seen, or even heard of in Odyssey so far is like 9.5 kilometers, I think, and I didn't die either.
Oh
Oh
god.
well, I'm going to self-destruct this.
I
like
think
easy.
not all the height maps are pre-baked. I think the
Mhm.
local ones are still procedurally generated.
Okay.
But I don't know how big the local features can get. Whether they can actually make... They can make small mountains, evidently, but I'm not sure they can make big ones.
It's rather disappointing that they've had to erase the
Yes.
surfaces of every landable planet.
Yeah, this is the sad
Oh.
part. I mean, I know it'd be more complicated for them probably in server time, etc., to have had like Odyssey tech on one and like Horizons tech on the other, but you know, it would have been nice to do that. I mean,
Yeah,
they've rescinded their initial like we're going to do this in the autumn. But then again, I don't think they actually have. They've just kind of stopped talking about like doing the switch over in autumn. They might still be doing it then. We just don't know. Unfortunately, Frontier are doing a kind of sleight of hand at the moment in terms of PR, because this recent update 6. I was looking through that, and this whole thing about the terrain tiles and repeating and the issues around that, not a single mention of that. Not, oh, we're still working on this, we have got nothing to really report about it, which would have been something at least, but we didn't even get that, and I found that a bit sad. And it's like, okay, because I started reading it, and I was initially quite happy. I thought, oh, this looks quite promising actually, and then I thought it's not even mentioned here at all, and it's like, that's not good, because always the worst thing you can do in any kind of PR situation is just say nothing when people expect you to say something, and they keep on doing it, and it's annoying. It really is. Okay, I have now respawned 20 kilometers above where we were, and that's all well and good. I think I'm gonna head to orbit now and start picking our site.
Do I dare recalling my ship?
That is a risk only you know if you're going to take or not.
Because I'm kind of stuck in a hole now.
Same.
I self-destructed
There's
out of the
literally no
hole.
way of getting out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way forward, really, unfortunately.
Right. I have
Cruel world.
I have an idea for a mass jump that I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we can only try.
We're going to form a line, or something?
No, not actually that. It's just the place we're going to be going.
Or is it too
Oh,
far?
I heard an explosion.
I
Probably an
self-destructed myself, so you know.
Oh, another one.
That was me. Ah, literally. Oh, Jesus.
I almost got at the hole I'm in. Now I've fallen straight back into it.
No, I respawned it in my ship, which was right next to a conduit. Oh, cooked grenade. I think we respawned in the same place, so we were just bashing into each other.
Right. I don't know what I was doing earlier with this. Ooh, there's a new one in system. Percy's Mariner. All the usual suspects are here. Gloomhaven. Interesting looking thing.
I've got into a new hole.
You said that with such pride and gusto, though.
I think this is one I could possibly risk recalling my ship to. It's a bigger hole. Although knowing my ship, it'll decide to hover in a completely different hole entirely.
Fair enough.
Oh, that's a deep hole. I better not go in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, the inevitability is I'm going to fall into it anyway.
Oh, wow.
Let me see if I can guess what you're up to. Do you want to mass jump from either the ring or that closest moon?
A little bit of both. I'm trying to get them aligned in a certain
Okay.
way. Yeah, I'm trying something slightly unusual here. To see what I can do. Try to get the angle as like part of the fun. If it takes too long, don't worry. I won't take up too much time trying to get it right. But if I can do what I want to very quickly, then I will. Okay, great. I have now dropped out, and anyone can drop on my wake if they wish to do so. And now begins the educated guessing game of which system do I pick next.
Oof. Just missed someone's ship jumping into instance.
It's always interesting, like hearing like the audio when this happens. 'Cause you hear like near misses, like "Oh, that was close," or "Oh, wow," you know. Hello there to you in Twitchland. Sorry, I couldn't pay much attention to the chat. I've been too engrossed in what I've been doing here, but it's all good. It's all good. I haven't forgotten you or anything.
Oh! I thought an Anaconda was firing an SRV, but I see it's a fighter.
Okay.
An SRV in space, that would be something.
Yeah, it has happened before. It's not common, but it has happened.
Yeah.
Before. It's difficult to do as well, because obviously it's against the natural mechanics of the game. What's everyone's jump range at the moment?
Mine's 45.
Okay.
Is everybody in the same mass jump instance?
Well, I hope they're getting there at least anyway, bit by bit.
Kit's group coming as well?
I've not heard any word from Kit yet, to be honest. So I'm not sure.
Because they've gone to space. I can see his low weight, but
Kit,
I can't see yours.
Oh, to be fair, Kit actually started an hour before we did, so he may have already gone.
Right.
So that might be it.
Yeah. No, I think they just because I just saw him in space just like now.
Yeah. Interesting.
You might have to give me a wing invite in that case.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll end up dropping on
Bear
here.
with me a moment. My wing's full at this second. So, yeah. Someone says
I
32.
probably have the lowest jump range of anybody here, but I could go get my one of my other ships and get a longer jump range. It wouldn't take long.
Okay, if you want to do that, that's fine. I'll keep you in wing until then. We don't have any urgency at the moment. We won't jump on the hour, and we'll jump after the hour at some point. So yeah, if anyone else wants to get a ship, now is a good time because I'm still trying to work out my jump target. Oh yeah.
Who was requesting a wing?
That was me.
Okay. Give me a moment. There you are. Oh, I'm still
What's the jump ranges needed?
Okay, it's 35 the jump range of the target, and I'll put it in the chat. So if that's our marker.
There you go.
Okay, cool.
Need some biscuits.
That's always a good thing.
Go over there. Go with the man. Go with the saw man. Let's get you biscuits.
Oh, that static's back.
Yeah, I can hear
Somebody,
it as well.
Or somebody's got static.
Solar window.
solar wind.
Yeah.
There you go. For a little while, Kit on the other group had bad static on his, and I was like, "That's entirely appropriate, considering how sometimes the guys at Apollo or Mission Control had trouble.
Yeah. Okay. Right, the jump target is in the chat. So Max said he wanted a wing. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm actually in the instance now.
Oh, that's all right then. It's always the way, isn't it? I just get around to winging somebody in and they're already there. Well, it's nice and efficient. Okay, I will be back in a moment, but we won't jump for like 10 minutes or so anyway. But yeah, be back in a second. Put something interesting to look at as well for this. The wonders of the external cam. It is genuinely cool though, I think.
Let me make sure that's not my static.
It's just Discord being stupid.
SolarWind has a courier as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got accidental boost.
Been quite a popular ship on this expedition.
It's very convenient. You can pack two SRVs, have decent jump, and still have fast ship.
And you can still be relatively fast and even carry a SRV with you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's smaller than an Eagle and has more compartment space for some reason.
The Courier's not smaller than the Eagle, is it?
Well, if you don't take the
It-
Eagle's
it's-
wingspan into account, yeah.
Its footprint is smaller than an Eagle, but I think it's got a thicker fuselage.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the same ballpark as far as general size goes, but I think it's actually no. Wait, yeah, it is. It is larger. There's like one of those. There's a video on YouTube that actually shows the size reference for all the ships in Elite.
Oh yeah. I think I remember the one.
Yeah, I know which
It's
one
not
you mean.
that much bigger, but it is bigger.
Mm.
Is everyone here? Because it seems like fewer ships than at the meet, as far as I'm aware. Someone's gone to get another ship.
That was me.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's more than just me.
Maybe. Maybe I'm just comparing it to yesterday. We had quite a few ships together yesterday, so. Ah, someone's just arrived. Excellent.
That's me.
Ah, awesome. Yeah. I will say that even though this system is genuinely excellent for all kind of planetary activities, in terms of like, you know, other than the gas giants, there's not actually as many like amazing mass jump sort of visual targets as it were. So, you know, that's the only downside to it really. Everywhere else has been a nebula that we've been to. So that's always provided like this kind of cool backdrop, or we jump towards a nebula.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty enough though. It's nice.
At our first circuit race, the Autumn Nebula was just above the horizon by the time we finished, and so all we had to do was just pop up far enough to not be in mass lock for the planet.
Yeah.
Boom, done. And that was quite the nice jump there.
If you can get those instances to work, then it's wonderful. Problems that with ones very close to a planet like that, they often don't work because people just start dropping out of instance. But yeah, if you've got stability in the instance, go for it. The thing is, you can never tell until you try in any given day.
Yeah.
So we try and jump at 10 minutes past, and that gives us about 8 minutes. And I think everyone's here that I'm aware of. I think Emil said he was trying to get in, but I don't know how long ago that actually was.
Somebody else just
Well, somebody
arrived.
just dropped in.
That was Kulema Black.
Oh, hello,
think.
Colonel Black.
Who just
Woo!
just hurtled through.
Nice. Okay. Actually, yeah, we've got a fair few people in Voice 3 here, so... Yeah. Awesome. Nice. Yeah, Kit's crew definitely already... They started an hour before we did, so they probably jumped about an hour before we've done. I think, you know, the whole thing with the crater race, it took longer than anticipated. That's the only reason we didn't really do the demolition derby thing, because I think I just lost track of time almost completely. We were going around that huge crater, because obviously it was so much more difficult than anticipated. It would just like consume within the task of what we were attempting to do. But yeah, that's one of those things, I suppose. Is anyone here attending the North America meet later on?
Well, obviously I will.
Yeah, I thought you might. I think JBL was going to, except I think he's left the instance now, I think because he was having microphone problems. But yeah, he's probably trying to do it for later on as well. Interesting on the Anaconda with its undercarriage out like that in space. It's like, it just looks so like spindly little legs compared to the sort of huge bulk of its, the rest of the ship.
The thing is, it's got some.
You're making
It's got
fun of
some.
my landing gear.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's got so many of them that
Yeah.
I think the difference is made up.
No, that's true, yeah. Just saying visually how it looks
Made
from a
for
distance.
Crushing sidewinders.
Oh,
yeah, naturally.
by the way, all our light is coming from the underside of most people's ships at the moment. So if we could turn so the light's hitting the top of our ships and line up that way.
Yeah. So which angle were you thinking of? Towards the star over there, you mean? Or?
Yeah, just so that the light's hitting the top of your ship.
Okay.
Oh, I need to get the target. Let's see, let me...
Yeah, so flip around 180 degrees, okay. Okay, that's a bit better probably. Yeah. Exactly, ring above the target system. Yeah, that's cool.
Let's see, the...
5 minutes to go. So, what's
Okay.
everyone's plans for after this? So, how many people are going to go out into the galaxy? How many people are going back to the bubble? Or doing whatever, I suppose.
Well, first thing I'm going to get another SRV from a carrier because my only SRV didn't make it.
Ah, fair enough.
Sagittarius A. That's what I'm going to do.
That's a
Never
good
been
one.
there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And I rescued 2 occupied escape pods earlier in the mission, in the expedition, and for some reason they're marked as stolen. I don't know why. Perhaps they didn't want rescue.
I'd have to get rid of those on the black market.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commander Panda says they're going back to the bubble to start another expedition. So yeah, that's cool. As well. I think I'll head back to the bubble just to sort of, refit and modify a few bits and pieces and then see what I'm going to do after that. Probably just ride back on one of the carriers, to be fair.
I shall probably have EIC business to tend to.
Mhm.
Which of the carriers is actually going back?
I think JBL's one's going back. I think Brian's going
That's-
back as well. I didn't look at any of the others, to be honest.
JBL's is Endeavour, right?
No, that's
Yeah.
that's Kit's.
No?
Kit's
That's Kit's,
Endeavour,
right.
Numa is JBL's, and Brian's is... I can't remember what he's called, actually. I do know this. It's like the Japanese-related name.
Yukikaze.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, those are the 3 I know that are going back to the bubble. Other than that, I'm not sure. Actually, no. Scratch
Well,
the Yukikaze. Brian's one isn't actually going back. He hasn't said what he's going to do yet. Endeavour is going back. Numa's going back. So, yeah. Okay. About 4 minutes.
Endeavor is going back, but they're waiting until tomorrow, if I recall correctly.
I think JBL's one's going back tomorrow as well. So, yeah. It gives you time to park your ship. I mean,
Sure.
I deliberately left also, the end date of the expedition a day longer than I previously planned to let everyone, finish this off. And because obviously, the Pacific meets, for example, always happen the day after. Some of the console meets are out of sync as well with us. So I wanted to, leave everyone a chance to finish it properly.
Uh-huh.
So that there was no worries in that regard,
Well, all the couriers are together.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Where's the bloody... That's weird.
What I'm
Okay,
going to do...
now it's working.
I'm moving slightly sideways and down because I want to deliberately let everyone overtake me, or most ships overtake me as we go off, so that I can get a good view of it.
That probably means I'm going to be going over the top of you and to the left.
I'll get down a
Or
bit
do you have an
further.
outside?
It's fine.
Okay.
I'll just go down quite a bit further than most people, because I just want to get the
Okay.
sort of the cockpit view of it as it goes off.
Right.
Actually, I might go to external cam when that happens. I'll see how it happens. Okay, cool. 2 minutes to go. Well, 1:30 really. JBL's asking back in for the jump. If I can get him in quickly, then we wouldn't have to postpone it at all. But if we did, it's only for a couple of minutes, so I'll try and wing him in as quickly as I can. I'll give you plenty of advance warning if we have to do that. If not, okay, right. JBL's coming in Super Cruise. Actually, let's stand by. Let's delay this for a few more minutes. We'll jump at 2014, I think. Just give you notice.
Okay.
Just because a couple of people still coming in that I didn't realise before, so yeah. Cook Grenade said in the chat, too much fighting in the bubble, cannot go back. Actually, one of the factions involved, and yeah.
Well, then I guess it's time for a trip to Colonia.
Colonia's always a
I
good
think
one.
What's going on there?
Hello. Yeah. Okay. We've got Grey Phantom in the target. Sorry, who was asking? So this gets confusing sometimes. So yeah, jump at 2014. See if we can get everyone in on time. Fingers crossed, it's gone quite smoothly so far. Yeah. We shall see. Let's go back to external cam for a moment or two. Yeah, probably too far off to one side, I think. Maybe I'm not. No, I'm not too bad a position, to be fair. So, yeah, that's fine. That's not a problem. I'm just off to one side. It's a nice mixture of ships. They've got the well-known Explorer Condors, the recently fashionable Exploration Courier, the old School Asp, the Mamba, not really considered an Explorer normally, but it can be used as one, like most ships these days, I suppose, with FSD boosters from Guardian Tech. Got the old DBX.
I have never well,
Mhm.
apart from a very short solo exploration ship trip that only, before there was engineering or Guardians or anything, that only
Mhm.
went about 500 light years from the bubble, I have never explored in an ASP.
That's very interesting. Because most people have usually tried at some point if it isn't their favourite ship.
And I've never...
No,
Oh,
why to
somebody's just
explore in
arrived.
anything
Yeah,
else?
come on.
Another... Was that another courier?
Is that JBL's Courier?
That's another courier.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Why would you explore in anything else other than an ASP? ASP has the best
I do like the
windows to
ASP.
view things.
Yeah, I mean, it was my main exploration ship for a very long time, and I tried various things since then. But yeah,
I've never explored in an Anaconda either.
really.
I mean, I've
Hmm.
transited from Colonia to the bubble, but that wasn't really exploration. That was just traveling.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
I see we do have one example of the kind of the next generation ASP, almost the crate.
Mm-hmm. Jump at 2014. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the
And
crate's great ship.
I think for the small ship,
Crate fancy.
the Dolphin is a bit of a dark horse when it comes to exploration.
I know you're very much a
Oh,
big
the
fan of the
Dolphin's
Dolphin.
good.
Great.
It's a good
Yeah.
ship, definitely. a
Yeah.
good ship.
The main thing is how cool it runs, and it's got a big
Right.
fuel scoop for its
1
size.
minute to go.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, since FDev made it cooler running, it does
I've
seem
noticed-
like a good option.
I notice amusingly that the yellow crate over here on the back corner is flying the side up that everybody thinks the crate should have been designed with.
Nice. 30 seconds to
It's like
go.
hovercraft.
Spool up if you haven't done so already. Cool. Right, ready for the count. In standby. Ready in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Nice.
And we're away. Waiting for the probes to appear.
Yep.
Just give it a moment.
It's inevitable.
It is.
Oh yes, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, did I jump to the wrong system? There's nobody here apart from Yannick.
No, I can see other people in the system, so it must be an instance thing.
Oh,
I can see the fireworks, you're right.
Yeah. I can see you as well,
Okay,
Sigmund,
yeah,
so
right.
yeah. You know, you're definitely in the right place.
oh, strange.
Yeah. Maybe everyone else has already jumped out as
Steve-
well.
True.
Yeah, because
I
I'm
see
going to be jumping back.
Logan's,
Yeah.
see Logan's wing signal, but that's it.
Now, if you go to the galactic
Everyone's
map,
just-
we're all here, you know, in the same system. We all jump to the right
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
That is strange.
We just in all instance in the same instance.
Which is unusual because
I
we
think
usually
most of
do.
us did. I saw about 13,
Yeah.
14 people
gonna
around me
say,
as I
I can
popped
see it.
out.
I only
can see
saw
a ton of people and
3, but
even
yeah.
more probes. There's probes everywhere.
Oh,
Oh well,
I must have popped out in a parallel universe or something.
as you do.
There you go. Perfect sci-fi explanation.
It's the easiest one as well. Ah, yes, indeed. Now the question of which ship I'm going to go back on the bubble. So yeah, I think. I'm going back to the waypoint system now.
Ah, there we go. I low waked and waked back in. Everyone's here now.
The sound of all these probes is quite something. All I can hear is like probe noises.
Yeah,
Probe noises.
sounds so sinister. Probe noises.
Probe noises.
There's a name for a rock band.
Ooh, yeah. That's cool. That's a good comment there by Getadoy. It's like, you know, someone saying too much fighting in the bubble, I can't go back. His response is it is a silly place. Which is, so the bubble is a silly place.
It is such a silly
Let's
place.
not go there.
Yes. Let's go somewhere else. Yeah, Colonia is well worth going if you have never been there. It is genuinely interesting. And a few of
They
us
have
use it.
engineers now.
It does,
I
yeah,
was quite
yeah.
disappointed that the battle for Carcosa has seemed to have petered out. 'Cause
Yeah.
we actually did
yeah.
a Sagittarius Eye article about it. It
I
was
remember.
quite. It was getting quite heated at one point.
Yeah.
But it seems like the Nameless have been well and truly defeated, and they've kind of given up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Funny that, but yeah.
I'm kind of crossed with Colonia because I went there from Bubble, as you say, on foot with the dolphin doing 100, 200 jumps or more, and then came back to the Bubble and checked on EDSM and didn't get the badge.
Really? That's sad.
So I have to do it all again.
That's very weird, actually. It should.
Damn.
Yeah, I even tried re-uploading the data, didn't help.
Yeah. Very weird. I mean, if anyone has any problems with EDSM, go to the EDSM Discord because they're usually very helpful.
I might just do that.
Yeah,
But
it's always a
I'm gonna
good
call
one.
it today for tonight. And thank you all.
Yeah, same.
This was a very pleasurable expedition. My first one. Don't know if when I'll get on the next one. So thank you very much, especially you, Yannick, for the organizing, for the streams and the education, and for everything else.
Thank you for coming along.
Good night.
Good night.
Funny, the A11X is quite a lot of people's first expedition.
It was. They're quite similar. I mean, obviously it was like, this is supposed to be a deliberate sort of using of the same kind of idea as, you know, A11X did, but, you know, just for a different mission. And it's worked in a very similar way, I think. As you say, a lot of people, it's their first trip. And by the sounds of it, most people seem to like Apollo 11, enjoyed themselves. And, you know, it's opened up a whole new vista for a lot of people, and I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, I think it's interesting. This and Apollo 11 is a very good mix of people.
Apollo 11. Maybe not a lot of people, you know, Apollo 13, everybody knows that one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not a whole lot of people have heard of, you know, just how well Apollo 15 went.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Yeah.
you know, that they landed like they did. And I got to say, I said it before earlier, but I'll say it again. That animation you provided of showing in perspective from both the commander's view out the window and also from the external view of Apollo 15 lunar lander as it came in, skimming over the mountains, gave me a new appreciation of just, how good a piloting job that was.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty
And
spectacular approach, really.
this is the thing.
And
is
it was kind of reminiscent. Remember that old Lunar Lander arcade game? The
Yes!
Mountain?
Yeah.
It was like that.
I love that.
It was very much like the Lunar Lander game.
Except
I
for this
always
really happened.
crashed on that game.
I played the
Never
hell
win.
out of that thing.
Yeah.
It just seems no matter how smoothly or how slowly you came to land on a flat bit, you always seem to lose for some reason.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
me, it is anyway.
I got quite good at that thing. It was only when I increased the difficulty to the point where I had to actively what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't stop your rotation automatically. You had to figure out how to stop your rotation.
Flight assist off, in other words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was where I failed. I couldn't do that. But
Now, if
everything
you-
but everything else I could do.
If you look at Curious Mark's channel on YouTube,
Oh, that's
they
nice.
they restored an Apollo guidance computer,
Oh yeah.
and at the end of this restoration, they got the whole thing fully working. In fact, recently I posted it in the Space Things channel.
Yeah.
They've also lit up an actual flight-rated DISCI display, the electroluminescent display that the computer used. Which was pretty cool to see that actually going,
Nice.
because that's probably the only footage now that exists, really clear footage of the DISCI display.
Yeah. And it's
Right.
remarkably good.
Because
Actually.
everything else was, because nobody really, it wasn't really an item of focus in any of the photographs they took. You see pictures of it, sort of in the corner, it's
Yeah.
not, but it's never the. Anyway, they restored an actual original AGC. And they hooked it up because there's a PC simulator. I can't remember what it's called, but there's PC. There's one of the space simulators, and it's one of the things it simulates is the LEM. And they hooked up. They interfaced an actual original AGC with this, and in front of the engineers who designed and programmed the AGC, they flew the Apollo 11 landing, complete with the 12:02 alarm and everything.
Wow.
Nice.
But they actually flew it. So the guy, one of the guys who did the restoration, actually got pretty good at flying this damn thing, and they did it, and it's pretty cool. They did it in this this kind of talk about the thing. They had it all set up and displaying on a projector screen so everybody could see what's going on. But yeah, it was pretty awesome, I thought.
Very nice.
And to be the guy who gets to not only restore the damn thing, work on restoring the damn thing, but actually fly a simulated landing using the original hardware.
It's amazing, isn't
That
it?
had to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
They
yeah,
were-
he's got an entire series of 20 or so videos restoring this thing to operational condition.
It is amazing. It genuinely is. As you say, it's like micro digital computers really only came about because of the space program. In that, obviously Gemini being the first, Apollo was the first one to take it, really to its conclusion in space. And you say digital displays, things we take for granted, really. That it all came
Yeah.
from there,
I mean,
But the
think
thing-
about how we even visualized computers in science fiction. Think about both Lost in Space and Star Trek, which came out about the time that Apollo was starting their missions.
Yeah.
And the Lost in Space, they were still pulling paper from the computer. And the first pilot of Star Trek, The Cage,
Yeah.
they were doing the same thing. Now they stopped doing that for the regular series for the most part, but and I think they had what amounted to an electronic pad that you'd see a yeoman bring over to Kirk to sign for something or something, but it was apparently electronic.
Yeah.
So they did move forward a little bit there, but oh, geez, Space 1999. They'd ask the computer something, and literally the guy would still be taking the paper out of the computer as a printout.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking 1974, you know?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. You see the way that sci-fi has evolved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the original Star Treks. They had quite a lot of NASA style switchgear in there. You know, if you look at it's all those little Royce Hotel switches.
Yeah.
Which they're horrifically over-engineered. But again, Curious Mark's got a bunch of those. He got hold of a bunch and made a little box to run the Soyuz clock off it. But they're like these. It's amazing the engineering that's gone into these switches.
Oh yeah. But the
I mean, they must have cost a fortune back in the day.
Oh yeah, totally. They were completely custom jobs, weren't they? And cutting edge as well. It's like you say, who else could afford something like that other than NASA or maybe the military of that era?
Yeah. I think you could actually buy them from the company that made them, but nobody ever would because they were so frigging expensive.
What's the point? Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't get many use out of them, would you? Even aerospace, maybe you might, but yeah, beyond that, very little use for them. But yeah, it is fascinating on so many levels.
Yeah, I think also the Fran Lab channel's got, because she was originally gonna make a replica Disky complete with electroluminescent display, but I think she stopped when she discovered there are people already quite a lot further ahead than her. But she does a lot of stuff with old display technology like Nixie tubes and some of the really weird display technology these were all technological dead ends, but we sort of went down them because they look promising.
Yeah.
All these kind of little miniature cathode ray tubes, and one recently she had was like a giant vacuum fluorescent, a 7-segment display, like a sort of LED, typical calculator style display, but a giant VFD that the Soviets had made.
Yeah.
And she lit that one up.
Oh, speaking.
She thought it was faulty, but in sort of conversation with the comments, other people suggested stuff, and anyway, lo and behold, she had another go and got it to actually work properly, which was nice.
Nice.
Yeah. That's always the weird thing about.
Speaking of Space 1999, remember they had the little what they called a comm lock, which actually had a little TV screen in it, and where you'd actually have this person looking at the TV screen on the end of the, I guess, stick or whatever it was. You know how they got that to work?
Mm-hmm.
They actually would have for close-ups. They would actually have. I don't know if they even bothered with the actual actor themselves. They'd have like a stunt double or somebody just hold a hand in front of the camera with the comm lock, and they would hold it in such a way that the cable running up their sleeve to the bottom of the comm lock was hidden from the camera.
Yeah. It's interesting to say, like, the sort of way sci-fi influenced stuff that was being made in aerospace and then vice versa. And then it was interesting mentioning lots about like Soviet stuff as well in like real life. It's kind of interesting how like the Soviet space program, even till its end, was always quite sophisticated, but its electronics were always like lagging behind like the West generally. So it was always interesting because they couldn't always build kind of good compact electronics. They had to go down like different routes. Like, for example, they did stuff, I think, like the first automatic docking of 2 spacecraft was actually done by the Soviets, even though they had very little rendezvous and docking experience before that. And you'd think with inferior electronics that'd be impossible. They just used what they had in like really quite clever ways, or just thought around the problems. So it's like, it's always interesting, a very different approach to it. The whole sort of culture was a very different way of doing things, and it's always interesting because a lot of their stuff worked really well. It just doesn't look as sparkly as a lot of like Western equipment would do, you know what I mean? It looks a bit sort of, I don't know what's the word for it, but a little of like unimpressive, a little bit dowdy almost, but it works really well.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing that Curious Mark had. They got a Soyuz clock working, and it was basically, well, it was basically clockwork, except it was it was electrically powered, so it had solenoids in there to actually make it move. But they got
When you-
they got a Soyuz mechanical clock and a Soyuz digital clock. The digital clock was the direct replacement for the clockwork one.
Are
And
you
the
talking about the
digital one
clock
was-
that's on board the spacecraft?
Yes.
Okay.
The one that the cosmonauts would use, and they had the digital replacement as well, which one of the guys got from like a space memorabilia auction, and they found it actually worked. There was not much wrong with it, and they got that one working as well. But again, it has like 6 boards in this thing, absolutely encrusted with components.
Wow.
So yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
interesting. In fact, it was probably a lot more heavier and more complicated than the clockwork one it replaced.
That's the thing about Soviet aerospace and all that. In terms of aerodynamics, in terms of how they're put together physically, the outer shells of their planes and their spacecraft, they're excellent.
Yeah.
It's just like you say, the electronics they were behind. I think one of the limitations of the early Vostoks, and the reason why they needed like if I recall correctly, the inflatable airlock.
Oh yeah.
For that first spacewalk, which almost went disastrously wrong, was that they were still using vacuum tubes in that spacecraft, and they couldn't be exposed directly to the vacuum of outer space because they just wouldn't. There you go. There goes your electronics. Poof.
Yeah, it's the air cooling they needed in the atmosphere. They couldn't use pure oxygen for the same reason as well, because apparently the cooling effect of it was actually not as good as nitrogen oxygen mix. So yeah, you're right. They had to keep that atmosphere, and hence you say literally. I mean, that airlock for that Voskhod mission for the first spacewalk was literally an inflatable airlock. It sounds ridiculous, but it was like a combination between like a bouncy castle and like cutting edge space technology. It was mental, but that's what they thought. It's like, well, how do we do this in this limited space? We'll inflate our own airlock. We don't have one built into the spacecraft because obviously Gemini went down a very different route, depressurized the spacecraft, opened the door, but they said they couldn't do that with Vostok because of the cooling.
Right, because the Gemini had the actual electronics that would survive vacuum, transistors, etc., or whatever, and there you go.
Yeah, because the vacuum of space doesn't make a very good heat sink, because you can only radiate heat. You can't like convect it away, and
exactly.
Theoretically,
the only issue
what you could probably do is reduce the filament current in the valves, and so you're not because you wouldn't need to make, if they're going to stay hot, you won't need to make as much heat, but then you'd need like thermocouples and all sorts of kind of things to be able to figure out whether what current to pass through the heaters and all that kind of thing.
For Soviet aircraft, it wasn't such a problem. Like the MiG-25 Foxbat and things like that. That had like valve set radars in like the mid-70s even. But that didn't matter because in the Earth's atmosphere, cooling and what have you. And also the fact that apparently the power of it was incredible. I mean, like I said earlier about making sort of out of left field decisions because they couldn't get the electronics and the transistors to work as well as we could do in the West. They were like having these valve set radars that were insanely powerful, and they could like literally blast through a lot of jamming that NATO was putting up, because apparently that was like one of the advantages of the valve sets, is that they could actually
valves were used certainly in high power RF. They were in use for a surprisingly long time. I have a Japanese transceiver radio transmitter, the Yaesu FT901, and the final amplifier in that is valves.
Oh, really?
It's got all the technologies. It's got ICs, transistors, and valves. It's got everything, all the eras.
That's pretty cool.
That was made. That was a late 70s design. I think it was sold up through probably to the early 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a very in the service manual. There's a very amusing section with valves, vacuum tubes, you need quite high voltages for high powers.
Yeah.
So nominally the supply for the final amplifier in this thing is 900 volts or so.
Mhm.
And the service manual has quite an amusing thing about checking the final power amplifier in this thing, about being careful of these voltages. It says something like lest you develop serviceman's arm, a malady known to old timers, where you touch the
Serviceman's
high
arm.
voltage. Serviceman's arm, where you touch the high voltage source, and your arm rockets back into the nearest immovable object, resulting
Wow.
in a lot of swearing and a lot of pain.
Interesting.
This is rarely fatal, it goes on to add. but should
Rarely
be
fatal.
avoided.
That's reassuring. That's just amazing.
Oh dear.
Yeah. This was a British manual, and because it does sound the kind of thing, ridiculous understatements. It's like, it's rarely
Yes.
fatal. It's like, really? Yeah, that reassures me a great
I must
deal.
feel that one next time we write support documentation for our stuff.
Yeah.
That's the sort of humor that we all Americans always think of British humor as rather dry. Well, that right there is desiccated.
It is.
Yeah, let me try and find the actual manual for it now. So it's
Yeah.
because I said I've got it because they're all rather old now.
Yeah.
These radios, and mine has a intermittent fault in it where it stops, the transmitter power all goes away, and I suspect, because these things of course heat and cool every time you turn the heaters on, the whole back end of this thing gets hot, and then when and the heating and cooling cycle tends to break the solder joints, and I suspect that's what's happened. So at some point I've got to pluck up the courage to take this thing apart and check all the solder joints in it, and then because I did check the voltages on it. I did take the top off with it operating and very gingerly probed the top of the valves, and it was developing about 950 volts or so. I don't really fancy getting a belt off.
It sounds a lot, yeah.
There's not much current in it, but you'll certainly know about it if you touch it.
Just back to the present, so we're talking about sort of like Soviet and Russian space. There's this new module that's been attached to the ISS. And what's interesting about that is, obviously there's been some malfunction in it, and the thruster kind of fired against the station for longer than it should have done. And, it wasn't that problematic, but it looked a bit hairy for a time. One thing that's interesting about this, I've noticed there's been some surprisingly strong backlash from some quarters, and this is on Twitter and other forums online and stuff, so I should probably take it with a large amount of salt. But it is kind of weird that the people don't seem to understand. It's like, this is one small failure that didn't damage the station, no one died, just one of those things, live to fight another day kind of thing. But it's like, the Russians helped build this station. It's like they're one of the key partners in it. The core module is Russian. Like, Soyuz is literally the most reliable, passenger transport in the history of space exploration. It's like, you're not about to chuck them out of the ISS, which some people are suggesting that they do, for one kind of minor failure, I mean, if that was the case, then no one would ever cooperate with anyone in space ever, because everyone's failed at some point. But it's just rather weird, I find this all of a sudden, because, most people I talk to space about tend to be quite open-minded and quite sort of, genteel people normally. So it's like kind of weird when you get people saying, "Oh, the Russians should be thrown off the ISS." Like, but why? Very weird.
Yeah, no.
ISS without the mirror before it.
Well, this is the thing.
By the way, yeah, they crashed something into the mirror, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a cargo. It was a Progress cargo vessel that went
Yeah.
went wrong and crashed into the station because.
The Russians also do a lot of the amateur radio stuff. Every so often they do slow scan TV, so you can actually. This is what annoys me, because virtually all the tracking websites will only give you passes during night time, because they're assuming you want to see it, but I want to hear its radio transmissions. So I prefer daytime passes because I don't have to stand outside in the pitch of darkness trying to point an antenna at the thing as it goes overhead. But the Russians often do slow scan TV, and I think they've got an event coming up 5th and 6th of next month, I think, where they're doing an SSTV event.
Okay.
So you can there's basically there's software that will decode the images. So you just need a radio on the appropriate frequency. But there's also an APRS repeater, packet repeater up there, so you can transmit packet radio at the space station. It'll relay it, so you can have a very brief conversation with somebody via the ISS, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really good. I like
I
that.
think I've read about that. That's like
There are two things
one
I wanted to
frame-
mention. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that's like 1 frame per minute or something. That's slow scan TV, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty slow. It does take around. It depends on which mode they use.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the color ones take around 30 to 60 seconds per image.
Mm-hmm. That's very slow.
So
Yeah.
it's really still images rather than
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
moving video. But yeah, they
Right.
have they basically have a sequence of images they transmit as they go overhead. I received the ones over like the Christmas New Year they were doing it, and I just used the antenna on my roof, which is really optimized for like stuff on the ground, so it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't see upwards very well.
Okay.
So I got the images were kind of scratchy, but I think with some of the daytime, I've got a VHF Yagi antenna, which is basically, if you know your typical TV antenna, the one with it's got a boom with a bunch of elements along it. I've got a VHF one of those. They're a bit bigger because it's a lower frequency. So I'll probably go out in the back garden with a software-defined radio attached to my computer and sort of try and point this thing at the space station as it flies past. The other thing is you have to account for the Doppler shift as well, which is it's quite easy with software-defined radio because you just set the bandpass quite wide so you capture the whole thing, but you'll see the frequency shifting as it goes past. You'll see the frequency starts higher as it's approaching, and then it's on the nominal frequency when it's right overhead, and then it's below the nominal frequency as it recedes. So you get to see the Doppler shift on the actual radio frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Is this
kinda neat.
technology similar to that which they used to transmit the first images back from the moon from, what was it, Lunokhod, and then Jodrell Bank intercepted them?
Possibly. It would been probably just it would have been a black and white because there's various slow scan TV modes. Some of them like a few frames per second, and some of them are like frames per minute, more like. So I'd have to look that up. But the modern SSTV modes, modern, I say they're probably developed in the 80s, I'd imagine. They're based on analog technology still. There are digital slow scan TV modes as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Well, yeah, actually, the last passes, all the recent passes, they've used the analog SSTV modes. And the funny thing is the way they used to transmit them was literally, I think it was like a very slow scanning camera attached to a TV tube. So they display it on the TV tube and then have a camera reading it off slowly. But now you can do it. You can generate them with a computer. Oh yes, this manual. I'm looking at this manual page now. This is the exact wording in the Yaesu manual about the high voltages. It says, because not all service personnel are as familiar with tubes as they are with semiconductors, we would begin by cautioning you that tubes are voltage devices. To produce power in useful amounts, they require voltages well in excess of that needed for a solid-state device. Take care, lest you quickly develop serviceman's elbow, a malady well known to old-timers. It occurs when your arm jerks back from the 800 volts right into some immovable object, accompanied by a few colourful phrases. It is not an experience one knowingly encourages, though it is seldom fatal.
Wow, seldom fatal. Yeah,
Yeah,
so reassuring.
The whole bit with the mod. Yes, the whole bit with the Russian module going a bit off kilter. yeah, people don't really get that that's really not all that serious. I was like, looking at that going, yeah, that's amusing, but I've definitely seen worse in Kerbal Space Program.
Kerbal was like the ultimate sort of
I was just,
comparison.
It's
and I
the,
was
the
just,
it,
I was just thinking, oh no, just no problem there. Just get Jebediah up there.
my usual I've had so many of my rockets in KSP. I always get the staging wrong first time, and I go to launch. I press the button to launch, and the staging fires instead. And so it makes this sad noise, and then sits there, and then slowly falls over.
or you pop your parachutes first before the rocket motor. But but another thing that brought to my mind was, okay, Armageddon, 1998 film. Crap movie, utterly crap. But it does have one good line in there where the Russian astronaut is trying to help get the space shuttle off the rock, and you don't know the components, and he's like, Russian components, American components, all made in Taiwan.
Yes.
Oh well.
And then he just whacks on it with a wrench, and it actually works, and it's like going, progressive maintenance. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although the Soviets did build a lot of their own stuff. They had equivalents to a lot of the Western ICs, all the 7.4 series logic. They had equivalents to that. They had equivalents to the Z80 processor.
Yeah.
They actually reverse engineered the VAX processor.
I did hear that.
DEC knew they were doing it, and they actually wrote messages on the silicon die to the Russian engineers. But yeah, they did and they also made because it was like communism, and you didn't make things because there was demand for them. You made things because it was part of the 5-year plan. They were making Nixie tubes until the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah.
And the West had done away with Nixie tubes in the 70s, I think.
This is the fascination about Soviet engineering, especially aerospace. As you say, it's like a weird combination of all these sorts of stuff in the West that have been thrown out like 20 years before, and just genuinely cutting edge stuff. Like best like anywhere in the world, and it's like a heady mix of all these things together. Sometimes even in the same projects they would actually have it all together, and it is quite fascinating in a way. You're right about also some of the digital stuff in the 80s. They were beginning to like catch up a bit, but you say some of it was reverse engineering. Now there was a difference between obviously getting something, reverse engineering it, and then making your own version or doing your own thing and then completely copying it. I mean, this is the difference talking about like communist systems. Like we compare like the modern People's Republic of China, and the engineers there often just seem to copy stuff completely, not care about the IP at all. But at least like the Soviets, the common decency at least to actually, reverse engineer stuff if they didn't know how to work it, and then work it out, and then make their own thing, which was kind of different most of the time anyway. But there you have it. Have I completely gone silent here?
Yes, I had. I've got various bits. I've got a whole box of Russian Nixie tubes. They're relatively cheap because they're quite plentiful.
Yeah.
Or at least they were 10 or 15 years ago. They might have gone up in price now. But recently, I saw on eBay. I saw a Rakel, which is a British make, frequency counter. And that was with Nixie tubes, and they wanted 50 quid. Buy it now, 50 quid, and it was fully working and calibrated. And the thing is, one of the British Nixie tubes it's got, and one that I think they're probably Mullard or something like that. They go for 50 quid a pop, and this thing has got 4 of them in it, and it's a working instrument as well. So I was quite pleased I managed to score that one.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? The way they sort of worked out. Something I heard talking about Russian aerospace recently. Now this was like a bunch of defense analysts talking about like military equipment that they'd like witnessed in the Syrian civil war and like Russian stuff there. Like they say, the Soviet military always used to have like lacking in electronics but good in most other ways. Allegedly, according to these defense analysts, the Russians may have actually closed that gap recently. But the thing is, then there is always a but to it. if they've closed that weakness, that makes their military incredibly potent all of a sudden. But the but is that they can't actually produce enough of this really high-grade electronics to fit out their whole military. So, you know, it's not going to be quite as threatening as maybe you would have first thought.
They should try producing some video cards.
Well, if they're good, I'll buy one. Yeah. I don't see why not. If they're willing to do it for a reasonable price, then fair enough, you know. Yeah, we were saying earlier about the video
that'd
cards.
be the trick, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But at the moment, there's a huge demand for like potentially like cheap video cards. I mean, if someone can make a good quality video card for less money, then well, you're going to have a huge market out there because of all the various, you know, Bitcoin miners, inverted commas, out there and distorting the market. It's sad, really, but there you have it. Yeah, it's nice if you can get a good video card these days, isn't it? Certainly looking for a new PC in the near future.
I've got a reasonably recent, well, very recent motherboard. I bought it when my old one unexpectedly died just before Christmas. It's the worst time to have a computer component fail.
Oh dear,
And it was like, I thought, well, I should upgrade my video card at the same time. And then I looked at the video card prices, and it was like, nope. I'll keep the 980 for a bit longer, I think. But it said that some of the premium 3080s are now available, but they're still awfully expensive.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Until recently, you've only been able to find like the scalpers stuff, which is just all been stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give money to scalpers, to be honest.
Sure, no one does really. But if you're truly desperate,
It
you
only
might,
encourages them.
Yeah. So let's say if you were like a streamer and you relied on it for your living, and then you might end up paying over the odds.
You're stuck behind between the rock and a hard place. But Overclockers UK are now starting to have the premium ones in stock.
Mm-hmm.
At least the ones where they disabled the hashing commands.
In theory, I think they have. There's like recent versions in the video cards that that have actually supposedly stopped that. But obviously, the miners tend to find ways around this pretty quickly, and I don't know they actually have with that particular modification, but it wouldn't surprise me if they already did that. Zooming into my spacecraft on the stream. Yeah. But yeah, I think the prices will stabilize in the not too distant future. Fingers crossed, but yeah, otherwise they're going to be insanely expensive to buy anything PC wise.
Yeah. I said that the CPUs and motherboards were kind of nominal prices. It was just the video card was ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Funny that. One thing I have noticed though in terms of price patterns, that if you want to buy a desktop, it's like in disproportionately more expensive now compared to buy, the same chipset, graphics chipset on a laptop is usually like a downgraded version of the same thing. It's usually like 10, 15, 20, 25% less powerful than the desktop equivalent. That's understandable, but they're often a lot cheaper. I mean, disproportionately cheaper than they used to be. I think mainly because miners don't actually go around using them to try and do their thing. So yeah, it is interesting because obviously they build these rigs, don't they, with multiple graphics cards all lined up, and with the laptop you've just got the one, so that's not really an efficient way to do it. So if you really want to buy like a high-end system, you might as well buy like a top gaming laptop. In terms of bang for your buck, that's probably the best thing you can do at the moment, at least as far as I'm concerned anyway. I'm seriously looking into doing that for that very reason. It's not cheap, but it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Might need to install a couple of heatsink launchers though.
That's always a good idea. You usually do that on a PC. You literally had this button and the heatsink would just come out and just launch out. They just roasting hot and like burn through your desk into the floor. Yeah, that would be amusing.
Yes, yes. The young lad upstairs is gaming again. How can you tell? Another hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, it would be funny. It's a bit like that, or is it called again, Serviceman's Elbow earlier on? It's like,
Yes.
warning, do not eject heatsink near other people. Or yourself.
Yeah.
Oh well. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, it is kind of interesting how, you know, different games use different sort of balances of like CPU throughput and
Whoops.
You know.
Whoever was talking there, we're like losing you and only hearing like every.
okay.
Or is that me?
It
I
might
can
be
hear
you. I
okay, yeah.
was hearing.
It might have been me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I was just saying about different games and the different balances that they use between, you know, obviously like Elite is quite graphics card heavy, isn't it? It always has been, and Odyssey even more so. But yeah, it's I think it just looked like Frontier massively underestimated like almost every possible sort of metric that they were going to need for Odyssey. Because originally it was going to be like, well, we can run it on Horizon stuff, it won't be a problem. It's like, well, that obviously wasn't true, was it? 'Cause they keep
Wonder
on...
what that means for the consoles as well, because they're targeting the same old hardware with it. It's already a problem on PCs.
Well, this is the reason I think they've actually started making noises about trying to, you know, get the PC one working as they want it before porting it to the consoles, because I seriously don't see how they're going to do Odyssey on a PS4. PS5, yeah, I think that's fine, but it's not going to be
Exactly, yeah.
backwards compatible, is it, in that kind of way? But I think it's actually some kind of agreement or something to do with like the agreement they made with you know, Sony and Microsoft for their respective consoles, that they have to provide a PS4 version apparently. But it's like, well, if that's true, it's like, well, that's, you've kind of boxed yourself in that regard, and you know, it's a very difficult situation. You either downgrade the graphics, I suppose, or I don't know what else you can do.
If it's a PS4, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's in like you've got like high-end graphics for a PC, and then you've got high-end graphics for a PS5. Then what do you do for a PS4 version? You can't. The same thing. You have to downgrade the graphics. You don't really have any choice to do that if you want to port it over. You know. But
If anybody's, by the way, and if anybody is still interested in mountain or canyon racing, I found, hopefully it will stay in the light, a good spot, and I've posted the picture of it on Flotilla 8.
Okay.
But I'm gonna take a little bit of a break before then. I need to get something to eat.
Yeah.
And all that. But the actual coordinates are that mesa that's right up behind my ship there, and I've currently left it, my ship that is, landed on top of that mesa, which actually has a tiny little mini track in the top of it. It's almost like a dead volcano with a central spire and a little tiny little racetrack around it that would, you know, if we were going to do an SRV race, it almost might work, except there's one insurmountable wall you can't get an SRV over. Otherwise, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, fair enough.
Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take off for now.
Okay.
And I'll be back around hopefully about 22:30.
Awesome. It's been fun.
Alrighty. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
See you later.
Right, cool. I mean, I myself, I'll probably shut the stream and this obviously Discord chat down very soon. But thank you for everyone who has flown in this flotilla so far. People have dropped in and out at different points, and that's all good, because the whole idea of having these flotillas was not supposed to be like you stay in one and you're always going to be there like a formal squadron. It's like, you know, go wherever you can, mix and match if you like. Sometimes it's a case of where you can get into as well, where you could instance, and That's often the way. But thank you for everyone who's been here. For those of you who I've known for many years doing these kind of expeditions, to those of you who it's the first time you've ever done this, and it's been great. And that was the whole point behind this expedition, was so everybody, no matter what their level of expertise and knowledge, could all mix together. And this is one of the great thing about the exploration community in Elite Dangerous. It's a very cool place with a lot of very interesting and friendly people, and everyone's always very willing to help each other out. There are really no stupid questions, and I think that's kind of proved it. And it's actually surpassed my expectations, and I thank you all, because ultimately you guys are the expedition. So I thank every one of you.
Well, thank you very much, Yannick, for organising that. This was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you had fun.
A digital 3 cheers from here.
Yeah, thank you. Right, awesome. Now I've got my winding the stream down for the evening, and thanks to you out there in Twitchland. Thank you for everyone who has watched the expedition. Thank you for the subs and follows. It's all very much appreciated. And thank you for just watching. It's been a great experience. Some of you may have not seen Elite before, and maybe some of you will start playing, or even just like taking an interest in space games generally. It's all good fun, and thank you for watching. And yes, thank you to everyone in Discord. And this particular Discord, by the way, is going to be kept permanently, like on every expedition Discord I've ever had, apart from like the first 2, which weren't under my own sort of, I was doing it for another organisation, so they were in charge of it. But for every expedition, I keep a separate Discord, and each one is going to be kept permanently as a sort of tribute, as a sort of almost like a museum, as it were, to the trip, with all the photos, all the videos, everything you've ever put there. So if you want to come back any time and sort of remind yourself of it, or pick up a photo or whatever, or because all these Discords are quite active a long time after the expedition ends as well. So I'm going to keep this up for a while, and I hope you all have a wonderful trip back to the bubble, Sagittarius, Beagle Point, or wherever else you're going. And keep watching the Discord for a little bit more, and keep watching the skies. Thank you, everyone, and good night to you all.